Chapter 299. The city guards, who had been used to control and deter those who dared to cause trouble in Blood Moon City, had become the target of attack. Although the city guards were powerful, they could not withstand the siege of a large number of cultivators. After all, there was no lack of experts among the cultivators who besieged Blood Moon Tower. Among the first to attack, there were those who had been treated unfairly by the city guards of Blood Moon City. The mysterious demon stage cultivator, who had released his aura to teach Lin Shi a lesson in Flowing Pearl Tower, was the first to attack. He was not like the other cultivators who were eager to enter Blood Moon Tower to find the treasure, but purely wanted to ignite everyone's anger and teach the city guards of Blood Moon City a lesson. The city guards could only hold on for less than half an hour before the gate of Blood Moon Tower was breached. The city guards retreated into Blood Moon Tower, but their enemies also rushed in. The battle was extremely fierce. Many cultivators were not only after the groundless treasure in Blood Moon Tower. Some wanted to loot the burning house, some wanted to vent their resentment against the city guards, and some even just wanted to kill. A strong smell of blood pervaded the surroundings of Blood Moon Tower, filling the Blood Moon Tower, making everyone more and more irritable. When there was a battle, there would be people who bled, and there would also be people who died on the spot or were beheaded. Blood flowed on the stone slabs of each floor of Blood Moon Tower, making the bloody radiance of the hexagons even more bright and bewitching. Maybe because there were too many cultivators participating in the battle, or maybe because the battle was too fierce, or maybe because of other reasons. In short, the incomparably thick Blood Moon Tower actually began to tremble. Looking from the outside, the entire Blood Moon Tower once again shone with bloody light. What was even more surprising was that even though it was daytime, the crimson full moon that should have been hiding somewhere actually appeared and hung high in the sky. For countless years, this was the first time that the bloody full moon appeared in daytime. This naturally made the cultivators of the entire Blood Moon land incomparably surprised. Almost all the cultivators who had reached Mysterious Demon Stage and above put down the matter at hand and flew at full speed towards Blood Moon City. Their faces were very tense and solemn. They should know something. Xiao Lingyu was different from those experts. He knew that the situation in Blood Moon City was complicated and very dangerous. Therefore, he didn't go to Blood Moon City. Instead, he took Zhu Jin and the other two away from Blood Moon City. He also ordered the members of the Heavenly Bandits to stay away from this dangerous place. However, what Xiao Lingyu did not expect was that as the blood-colored full moon grew brighter and brighter, a faint layer of blood-colored light also appeared on his body. Furthermore, this light was becoming more and more obvious. No matter how he suppressed or hid it, it would still seep out of his body. "What's wrong with the First Master?" Zhu Jin asked in surprise. "I'm not too sure either, but it's better for us to hide as soon as possible." Xiao Lingyu shook her head in response and increased her speed. Blood Moon City was already in chaos. Because at this time, the city guards were already tired of protecting themselves and the Blood Moon Tower, the order of the entire Blood Moon City, was naturally not maintained by anyone. Many cultivators had crooked thoughts and decided to loot a burning house. Many shops that were not guarded by experts became the targets of their looting. It should be known that in Blood Moon City, there were originally countless vicious people who came to take refuge. In the past, they would obediently stay in Blood Moon City, but now that Blood Moon City was in such a situation, it was inevitable that they would reveal their true nature. Gradually, the entire Blood Moon City became a killing field. Everywhere, there was a foul wind and a rain of blood. Blood flowed like a river, and the ground was almost completely dyed red. The Blood Moon Tower trembled more and more violently, and the blood-colored full moon in the sky began to cast countless rays of piercing moonlight. Boom! Suddenly, an earth-shaking explosion sounded in Blood Moon City. An unparalleled shock wave of imposing aura swept out from the Blood Moon Tower. In an instant, the entire Blood Moon City was razed to the ground, but it still continued to spread in all directions. That powerful shock wave of imposing aura spread for thousands of miles before stopping. Although Xiao Lingyu was already far away from Blood Moon City, he could still clearly feel the existence of that imposing aura, and was even more surprised in his heart. Along the way, Xiao Lingyu also encountered experts from the Blood Moon Land, but they did not even look at him and directly flew away, which made him feel very strange. The place where the imposing aura came from originally towering Blood Moon Tower, but at this time, the Blood Moon Tower had already disappeared, and a blood-colored demonic fog was hovering in the sky. Among the cultivators who rushed into the Blood Moon Tower, only a few mysterious demon experts survived the explosion of the Blood Moon Tower, but they were all seriously injured. What was even more strange was that the melodious sound of the flute actually sounded again, and the entire Blood Moon City was turned into a huge pit. Countless cultivators died at the same time, and those who were lucky enough to survive, as well as those who had just arrived, completely forgot everything. They were intoxicated by the sound of the flute, and their faces were filled with obsession. Boom! First, a dazzling aurora flashed, and then the blood-colored full moon in the sky exploded with a loud bang. Countless blood-colored rays of light like sharp swords fell from the sky like raindrops. At this time, Xiao Lingyu also stood still and looked at the blood-colored rays of light falling from the sky. Like most of the cultivators, he was also at a loss. Before the blood-colored rays of light fell to the ground, they all twisted and turned into demonic creatures of different shapes. These demonic creatures seemed transparent, but their bodies were emitting a blood-colored radiance, which was very strange. As soon as they appeared, they rushed towards Xiao Lingyu and the others from all directions, but when they came close they were suddenly stunned, as if they had discovered something strange. Xiao Lingyu was about to make the first move to gain the upper hand, but the demonic creatures that came with menacing aura all turned around and left. "What's going on?" Gong He was puzzled. "It's probably because of the first master." Zhu Jin looked at Xiao Lingyu and said, "Indeed, the radiance on the first master's body is the same as theirs." Gong He nodded and said, "Let's not worry about this first. Right now, the Blood Moon continent is even more chaotic and incomparably dangerous. We have to leave quickly," Xiao Lingyu said while stroking his chin. "The strength of those demonic creatures is not weak. We should go and collect them, otherwise they will definitely be wiped out." Zhu Jin reminded. "Send a message to them now and let them come closer." Xiao Lingyu nodded and ordered. In less than 4 hours, the bandits of the Heaven-Smiting Bandit Group had gathered. However, their numbers were less than 1% of the original number. Almost all of the ordinary bandits whose strength had not reached the Devil King stage had died. The 3 hunchbacked old men from the East Pole Devil Sex Imperial Beast Hall, who had been arranged by Xiao Lingyu to stay in the bandit group, had also come out unscathed. Fortunately, Xiao Lingyu had told the bandit group's leaders to take good care of these 3 people. Otherwise, it was hard to say if they would have made it out alive. The heavenly bandits suffered a huge loss, but after they gathered around Xiao Lingyu, the demonic creatures that had been attacking them before did not attack them again. Suddenly, everyone was safe. This also made the members of the heavenly bandits believe that this first master was definitely worth following. "First Master, what should we do next?" Zhu Jin asked a little worriedly after settling the bandits down. "Let's find a place to hide first and wait for this storm to pass." Xiao Lingyu thought for a moment and said, "Great Master, I feel that those experts were heading towards Blood Moon City without any intention of stopping. They must have known that there would be danger, so they hurried to Blood Moon City to take the teleportation array and leave." Gong He suddenly interjected. "Great Master, I feel that those experts were heading towards Blood Moon City without any intention of stopping. That is indeed a possibility, but even if we rush over now, it will be too late. Moreover, I feel that Blood Moon City is definitely very dangerous. Rather than rushing over now, it would be better for us to lie low for a while." Xiao Lingyu nodded and said, Let's listen to First Master. Song-ju agreed. After deciding on the plan, the Heavenly Bandits continued to move with their backs facing Blood Moon City under the leadership of Xiaolingyu. What made everyone feel at ease was that with Xiaolingyu in the bandit group, most of the demonic creatures that were wreaking havoc would not come close. Even if there were some that came close, they would directly leave after observing for a while. Not long after, the Heavenly Bandits finally found a place to hide. It was a cave behind a waterfall. The entrance of the cave was very small, only allowing one person to pass through sideways. But after walking for a while, the cave became spacious. In a relatively spacious area of the cave, Xiaolingyu had everyone dig out a few simple caves for them to rest and recuperate. He himself blocked the entrance of the cave to prevent any demonic creatures from flying in and attacking them. Xiaolingyu actually did not realize how serious the problem was. At this time, there were countless demonic creatures wreaking havoc on the entire Blood Moon land. In less than a day, 99% of the cultivators on the Blood Moon land had died. Only a few cultivators who were not weak or had the protection of experts were still alive, and many of them were in a precarious situation. However, Xiaolingyu's choice was very wise for the Heavenly Bandits as a whole. If the entire Heavenly Bandits were to move towards Blood Moon City, they would not be able to use the teleportation formation to leave because there were simply no cultivators that could get close to it. Although the teleportation formation at the gate of Blood Moon City was not destroyed, it was surrounded by countless demonic creatures. Moreover, these demonic creatures were obviously very strong. Most importantly, on a towering pillar of the teleportation formation, there was a woman wearing a red gauze dress. Her eyes were closed and she was playing a flute. The woman's appearance was incomparably beautiful, but even with her eyes closed, it was difficult to conceal the melancholy and grief between her brows. The flute was blood-red, as if it was condensed from blood. It looked very strange, but the sound of the flute that flowed out from it was melodious and mellow, causing people to be intoxicated. The woman's sorrowful expression and the clear and cheerful sound of the flute were so different and disharmonious, but also seemed to be completely natural. It was unknown whether it was because of the pleasant sound of the flute or because of the woman's special temperament. In short, those high-level demonic creatures had been surrounding her, but did not dare to get too close to the teleportation formation. Chapter 300. There were many cultivators and sects that didn't realize that they had to leave the Blood Moon continent or were too far away from Blood Moon City. Like the heaven-smiting bandit group, they all chose to hide after seeing that there were too many demons and their strength wasn't weak. However, those demons seemed to be particularly sensitive to the aura of life, and their searching ability was very strong. They could always find the hiding place of everyone and attack them. There were fewer and fewer lives on the Blood Moon continent. The boundless blood-red color shrouded the entire continent. Demons flew around wantonly. They were like demons who had lost their minds. Wherever there was the aura of life, they would rush there, as if they wanted to completely cut off the vitality of the Blood Moon continent. Many cultivators realized that they must leave the Blood Moon continent. Otherwise, they would be killed by these demons sooner or later. Therefore, after hiding for a period of time, they began to slowly move in the direction of the Blood Moon City. Rather than waiting for death, it was better to struggle. Maybe there really was a chance to leave the Blood Moon continent. Xiaolingyu, on the other hand, wasn't in a hurry. Those devilish creatures would eventually find their way to the waterfall, but they would leave after seeing him. The cultivators of the heaven-smiting bandit band wouldn't be in any danger if they followed him. However, Xiaolingyu also knew that hiding like this was not a long-term solution. When the Blood Moon continent calmed down a little, he would leave. Moreover, now that Xiaolingyu had reached the chaotic void refining stage, he had enough strength to fight for the space between the two worlds and go to the immortal world. It was time for him to go to the east of the demon world. Anya shouldn't have ascended yet. I wonder how her Shuntian Academy is doing? Xiaolingyu sat on a black stone at the entrance of the cave. He was somewhat nostalgic for the days in the cultivation world's chaotic astral ocean. One day, 3 months later, Xiao Lingyu, who was closing his eyes to comprehend the characteristics of the chaotic void refining stage, suddenly opened his eyes and stood up. After 2 breaths, a group of no less than 100 cultivators quickly moved to the side of the waterfall. One of the cultivators had been scanning the surroundings with his demonic sense. It seemed that he also found a cave here. Moreover, this cave was easy to defend and difficult to attack, so he flew over with his people. However, after he found Xiao Lingyu with his demonic sense, he did not dare to get too close. However, they had a large number of people and a large number of demons were chasing after them. Along the way, other demons constantly joined in the chase. They had to find a place to rest and reorganize. The leading cultivator should be at the mystic demon stage. He was very puzzled. Although there were many demonic creatures around the waterfall, none of them took the initiative to attack the cultivator standing at the entrance of the cave. Moreover, that cultivator's body was overflowing with a misty bloody light, which was no different from the demonic creatures, and the cultivator's face sank and he said, "The Blood Moon continent is in danger. Can't fellow Taoists cooperate with us and kill our way out of the Blood Moon continent?" Xiao Lingyu said indifferently, "It's not that I don't want to save you, but there are already many of my people hiding in this cave. Moreover, their strength is far inferior to yours. If you go in and cause trouble, I'm afraid that we will all die in your hands even if we are not devoured by these demons. I can understand fellow Taoists' caution, but we really have no way out. If we go around this place and continue to move forward, I'm afraid that we will be devoured by these demons before we can find another place to hide. I hope fellow Taoist can make an exception." The reason why he was so polite was that although this cultivator was at the profound demon stage, he could not see through Xiao Lingyu's strength. He took it for granted that Xiao Lingyu was at the same profound demon stage as himself, and might even be stronger than him. "I really can't agree to this. After all, these are my people. I can take care of them, but I don't have to take care of you at all. You also know that the Blood Moon continent is very dangerous right now. It's not easy for us to protect ourselves, so how can we take care of others?" Xiao Lingyu said with a deeply troubled expression. The cultivator found with his devil sense that countless demons had surrounded the waterfall, and the people he brought were getting fewer and fewer. He made up his mind and his body flashed, directly rushing in front of Xiao Lingyu and slapping him with his palm. After all, Xiao Lingyu had just entered the chaotic void refining stage. In terms of speed, he was far inferior to this profound demon stage expert, so he could not dodge this palm at all. However, Xiao Lingyu did not dodge, but fearlessly met the opponent's palm head-on. Bang! The 2 palms fiercely collided with each other and then quickly separated. Xiao Lingyu took 2 steps back, and because his back was pressed against the stone wall, he was able to stabilize himself. However, his opponent only took 1 step back to stabilize himself. However, the opponent was attacking, while Xiao Lingyu was defending. To be able to receive the opponent's attack like this, he was not at a disadvantage. The opponent also knew this, so after that palm strike, he could already judge Xiao Lingyu's strength, so he did not dare to make another move. The cultivator had already consumed a lot of energy on the way here, so how could he dare to go all out against an expert of the same level? "Fellow Taoist, if I fight with my life on the line, even if I can't win, I'm afraid you won't have time to take care of your people," the cultivator threatened. "Hee, you can try." Xiao Lingyu laughed without fear. "Right now, our enemies are these demonic creatures. Why should we waste our energy fighting them? How about this, you tell me what method you use to make these demons not dare to come close to you, and I'll leave with my people. How about that?" The cultivator said calmly. "I can't tell you that, and even if I tell you, you can't do the same as me." Xiao Lingyu shook his head. "Sir, are you trying to force us into a dead end?" The cultivator glared and said angrily, "I'm only responsible for my people, and your lives have nothing to do with me." Xiaolingyu said calmly. "You!" The cultivator's eyes widened, but after a moment he said, "We can join you and become your people, no matter what you do. How about that?" Xiaolingyu smiled and said, "That's a good suggestion, but if you want to join, you have to show some sincerity. I won't believe empty words." The cultivator nodded and replied, "We can make an oath, but not to be loyal to you forever, and to join you without any disloyalty." Xiaolingyu continued, "You have to add one more thing, and that is to listen to my orders." The cultivator hesitated for a moment. He knew that the other party was not easy to fool, and the situation on his side was too dangerous, so he gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, it's decided. I'll make an oath first, so you can rest assured, right?" Xiaolingyu nodded and said, "Other than you, I won't care too much about the others." After the cultivator made the oath, Xiaolingyu opened the entrance and took the initiative to fly out. When Xiaolingyu arrived at the crowd, the demonic creatures that were pouncing from all directions all stopped halfway, then obediently turned around and left, causing these cultivators to be incomparably astonished. With Xiaolingyu's cover, the hundreds of cultivators all safely entered the cave. To be safe, Xiaolingyu made the cultivators make an oath one by one, and then let Zhu Jin arrange for them to open a temporary cave abode. After spending a day together, everyone understood each other. This group of cultivators actually came from a second-rate sect. The mysterious demon stage cultivator from before was called Suzhen, and he was the head of that second-rate sect. They originally had thousands of people heading towards Blood Moon City, but now there were less than 100 people left. But among these 100 people, except for a few talented cultivators, the rest were all late Demon King stage cultivators and above. There were more than 60 true demon stage cultivators, 8 spirit demon stage cultivators, and only 1 mysterious demon stage cultivator. With these 100 people joining the Heavenly Bandits, it immediately increased the strength of the Heavenly Bandits greatly. Su Zhen actually didn't understand. The leader of the Heavenly Bandits was clearly not weaker than a mysterious demon stage cultivator, but why did he only have a few true demon stage cultivators, and not a single spirit demon stage cultivator? What was the use of the Heavenly Bandits bringing these low-level cultivators? Xiaolingyu naturally wouldn't explain so much to Su Zhen. If it weren't for special circumstances, Su Zhen wouldn't have sworn an oath to him, and he definitely wouldn't have agreed to listen to his orders in the future. If everyone was in their best condition, and the surrounding environment wasn't so bad, Xiaolingyu might not be able to win against Su Zhen. As for winning, it was almost impossible. After all, Su Zhen wasn't an early mysterious demon stage cultivator, but a middle mysterious demon stage cultivator. What Xiaolingyu didn't expect was that the addition of Su Zhen and the others was just the beginning. Because this place wasn't very far from Blood Moon City, and almost all the surviving cultivators on the Blood Moon continent were rushing towards Blood Moon City, many of them would naturally pass by this waterfall, and it would be easy for them to find this cave and come closer. As long as someone came close, Xiaolingyu would bring Su Zhen to block the entrance. After a few exchanges of words, those who were rushing over would have to obediently join the Heavenly Bandit. As for those demon monarchs or late mysterious demon stage cultivators, they were the peak existences of the Blood Moon continent. They had already rushed to the vicinity of Blood Moon City, so naturally they wouldn't bump into the Heavenly Bandits here. However, this was only Xiaolingyu's imagination. Under normal circumstances, this was the case, but he couldn't rule out special circumstances. After a full 3 years, the Blood Moon continent was still covered in blood, and demons ran rampant. However, the Heavenly Bandits used this opportunity to greatly increase their strength. Not only did they have 3 middle mysterious demon stage cultivators and 5 early mysterious demon stage cultivators, they also had close to 100 spirit demon stage cultivators, and close to 500 true demon stage cultivators. With such strength, they were actually the best among the second-rate sections. Chapter 301. Get out of the way. What Xiaolingyu didn't expect was that this group of cultivators was different from the previous ones. Not only were there more than 500 of them, but they were also filled with killing intent. Their cultivation was also at the late stage of the Demon King realm. Moreover, the leader didn't even greet them. After a loud roar, he directly slashed out a blade ray. Not good, it's the late stage of the mystic demon realm. After Su Zhen reminded everyone, he shot out a demon talisman. The demon talisman flew out of the cave and turned into a black shield, but it was immediately torn apart by the blade ray. The blade ray's power weakened a lot. When it reached the cave entrance, another mid-stage true demon realm cultivator blocked it. Get out of the way. This time, the late-stage mystic demon realm expert slashed out 3 blade rays, each one more powerful than the last. Xiaolingyu and the others acted together and blocked the 3 blade rays. However, they were all forced back a few steps. Why are you scoundrels here? Get out of the way for my god morning bandit group. The newcomer angrily cursed. Then, the demonic blade in his hand flew into the air and suddenly expanded 100 times. With a mighty aura, it slashed down from the sky. Get out of the way, it's a top-grade demonic weapon. Su Zhen reminded again. Then, he and the other mystic demon realm experts dodged into the depths of the cave. This blade might not cause too much damage to the mystic demon realm experts who wanted to dodge, but the cultivators in the cave who hadn't reached the mystic demon realm would definitely suffer heavy casualties. They couldn't let this blade land. Xiaolingyu quickly formed a primal chaos demon seal and hid it above his head. Then, the silver moon broken blade appeared in Xiaolingyu's hand. A primal chaos blade ray whizzed out and chased after the primal chaos demon seal. Rumbling sounds continuously came from above the cave. The entire waterfall and everything around it trembled violently at this moment. The demonic blade was blocked by Xiaolingyu and returned to its original state, falling into the newcomer's hand. Xiaolingyu put away the silver moon broken blade and said calmly, I advise you to talk things out. Otherwise, if you continue to fight, it won't do you any good. At this time, several mysterious demon experts once again gathered in front of Xiaolingyu. They were also a little surprised by Xiaolingyu's performance. Previously, they didn't see that this great master actually had the ability to take an all-out attack from a late-stage mysterious demon expert. Before Xiaolingyu could reply, a sound that sounded like the roar of a ferocious beast was heard. Then, a torrential wave of blood surged over from afar. The dense smell of blood accompanied by a vast and mighty aura surged over together. It actually gave people the feeling that a 1,000,000-meter-tall mountain was about to collapse in front of them. What made people's scalp tingle was that after the roar, there was another roar like the roar of a raging tide. It was obvious that this was the roar of countless demonic creatures. No wonder the expert of the Divine Morning Bandit group was so anxious just now. It turned out that there was a group of powerful demonic creatures chasing after them. In just 2 breaths, the blood wave had submerged the waterfall, and then Xiaolingyu heard the screams of cultivators. Xiaolingyu's eyesight was good. He could clearly see that the cultivators were surrounded by those demonic creatures, and then torn to pieces by those demonic creatures, turning into a cloud of blood mist. The master of the late stage of the mysterious demon stage should have already resisted these demonic creatures, so he didn't choose to resist at all, but rushed to the entrance of the cave again, followed by several mysterious demon stage experts and a group of spirit demon stage cultivators. Among the demonic creatures, there must be a very powerful existence. Xiaolingyu was not sure whether these powerful demonic creatures would give him face, so after a quick calculation in his heart, he let the other party enter the cave. The other party was a master. Although the entrance of the cave was not big, they could still all rush in a moment. Only a few mysterious demon stage experts and a dozen spirit demon stage experts rushed in. The rest of the Divine Morning Bandit group's cultivators were all mercilessly killed by those demonic creatures. When those demonic creatures chased to the entrance of the cave, after seeing Xiao Lingyu, they were stunned for a moment, then turned around and retreated. But after 2 breaths of time, a demonic creature emerged from the billowing blood waves with its huge basin. Its 2 fuzzy eyes stared at Xiao Lingyu. Its expression was very strange. From the demonic creature, Xiao Lingyu felt a momentum that was far beyond the mysterious demon stage cultivators, giving him a feeling that it was difficult to match. Xiao Lingyu had already held the silver moon broken sword in his hand. If this demonic creature made a slight move, he could only choose to fight back. The reason why he let the masters of the Divine Morning Bandit group come in was that if he couldn't make these demonic creatures retreat, with the masters of the Divine Morning Bandit group here, it would be safer for everyone to resist together. The demonic creature that revealed its huge basin stared at Xiao Lingyu for a while, then slowly hid its basin in the blood waves. The billowing blood waves rolled away, and in a few moments, the waterfall was restored to its previous appearance. Only some demonic creatures that were not very strong were raging around. Phew! Xiao Lingyu and the others heaved a long sigh of relief, especially the masters of the Divine Morning Bandit group. They all looked like they had just survived a calamity. After waiting for a while, the late mysterious demon stage expert asked, "What's with the radiance on your body? If your excellency doesn't want to be chased by those demonic creatures again, then don't ask so much," Xiao Lingyu replied indifferently. "I'm just asking, nothing else. We'll also open up some caves here. After resting for a while, we'll leave. We won't disturb everyone." After the late mysterious demon stage expert finished speaking, he didn't wait for Xiao Lingyu to reply and led the Divine Morning Bandit group's experts to open up caves in the depths of the cave. Due to the presence of the Divine Morning Bandit group's experts, the atmosphere in the cave suddenly became tense. After all, there was a late mysterious demon stage expert among them. Moreover, their overall strength was not weak. If they attacked the heavenly bandits inside, letting them in before would undoubtedly be inviting a wolf into the house. It was also because they were too strong that Xiao Lingyu didn't dare to forcibly drive them out. He also didn't think that these experts would be willing to join the heavenly bandit. He could only turn a blind eye to their arrival. The Divine Morning Bandit group's experts were well behaved. They had been in secluded cultivation all this time, and didn't come out to disturb everyone. Xiao Lingyu continued to lead the Heavenly Bandits experts to the entrance of the cave, waiting for people to pass by, waiting for them to be absorbed into the Heavenly Bandit. Another half a year passed. Suddenly, the late mysterious demon stage expert of the Divine Morning Bandit group walked to the entrance of the cave and said, "Are you also a bandit group?" "So what if we are?" Xiao Lingyu calmly replied. "To be able to develop a bandit group like you in the Blood Moon continent is indeed very difficult. Of course, there is no need to doubt the strength of the great leader," the person said in a seemingly praising tone. "I feel that as bandits, we shouldn't beat around the bush. If you have anything to say, it's better for your excellency to be direct," Xiao Lingyu calmly said. "All right, I'll be direct. Just now, the soul jade tablet of our great leader of the Divine Morning Bandit group shattered," the person said with some grief. And then, Xiao Lingyu's expression still didn't change in the slightest. "The great leader has already died. Our Divine Morning Bandit group has also suffered heavy losses. We basically exist in name only. However, we are used to the life of bandits. If we were to do something else we would." The person stopped speaking at this point. However, Xiao Lingyu didn't seem to have any intention of speaking. The reason why Xiao Lingyu didn't speak was because he knew what the person wanted to say. He wanted to wait for the person to finish his sentence. He didn't want to ask or say it himself. "Let's be direct. I see that the great leader is also a person with courage and strength. Therefore, I want to take the remaining few brothers and join you." At this point, the person saw Xiaolingyu's frown and continued, "Great leader, don't be in a hurry to refuse. Let me continue. First of all, if we join you, we definitely won't covet the position of great leader. We will definitely listen to your orders. Second, we definitely can't stay on the Blood Moon continent anymore. In the future, we will have to go to other continents to develop. The Divine Morning Bandit group used to go to other continents frequently. We have a lot of experience." Xiaolingyu pondered for a moment and said, "How can I trust you? You definitely won't swear allegiance to me, right?" The person said, "There's no need to swear an oath. If great leader is truly a hero and has real ability, how can you not control your subordinates? Are you afraid that we will rebel?" Xiaolingyu smiled and said, "Although I have some real ability, I'm not a hero. Moreover, I'm not in the bandit group most of the time. I don't really care about how the bandit group develop. How about we sign a contract of cooperation?" the person suggested. This, Xiaolingyu seemed to hesitate. However, he soon said, "Okay." The so-called contract of cooperation actually required an oath. However, it required both parties to swear an oath. Moreover, the contents of the oath had to be fair to everyone. Immediately, the two people straightforwardly swore an oath. The overall strength of the heavenly bandits improved by another step. This late-stage profound demon realm expert was called Xiaoliang. He was the second leader of the Divine Morning Bandit group. After he swore an oath, he called out the experts who originally belonged to the Divine Morning Bandit group to greet Xiaolingyu. Like Xiaoliang, they continued to call Xiaolingyu as great leader. In other words, they acknowledged Xiaolingyu's position as great leader. After that, Xiaolingyu guarded the entrance of the cave by himself, while the rest of the spirit demon and mysterious demon experts of the heaven-smiting bandit group, under the guidance of Zhu Jin, drank wine in the depths of the cave and got to know each other. Chapter 302. He learned from Xiaoliang that the dispute between the major forces of the Blood Moon continent was about to come to an end because the top experts of the Blood Moon continent, the demon monarchs, had already joined the battle. However, no one expected that something would happen in the Blood Moon city. Therefore, when the blood moon in the sky appeared for the first time, the demon monarchs had already retreated from the battlefield and flew towards the Blood Moon city. Many demon monarchs knew of a legend that the blood moon in the sky of the Blood Moon continent was the lifeline of the Blood Moon continent. Once it was destroyed, the entire Blood Moon continent would usher in a catastrophe and all life would disappear. The current situation had confirmed the legend. The leader of the Divine Morning Bandit group, who was a demon monarch expert, had also gone to the Blood Moon city before, but he had already died. From this, it could be seen how serious the catastrophe that the Blood Moon continent was facing was. Even a demon monarch expert couldn't escape. Xiaolingyu couldn't imagine how anyone in the entire Blood Moon continent could leave alive. Even though he knew that continuing to hide like this wasn't a solution and wouldn't solve the problem, Xiaolingyu didn't have a better solution. The entire heaven-smiting bandit group didn't have a solution either. He could only wait like this and wait for an opportunity. With Xiaolingyu around, those demons didn't dare to come close. This made everyone inevitably put all their hopes on Xiaolingyu. Moreover, they didn't think of any solution. They just waited for Xiaolingyu's next order. In any case, when everyone left, they brought a lot of magic stones and cultivation materials with them. Even if they stayed here for tens of thousands of years, it wouldn't affect their cultivation. Another 200 years had passed, but the heaven-smiting bandit group hadn't grown much stronger. After all, those who were able to reach this place had already arrived before them. How could those who weren't able to reach this place before the demonic creatures attacked them? The heavenly bandits were still silently waiting for an opportunity in the cave. Xiaolingyu, who had been guarding the cave entrance, found that the bloody mist in the surroundings had gradually thinned out. The demons were also getting fewer and fewer, and finally, not a single one could be seen. At the same time, Xiao Lingyu also found that the bloody radiance on his body had become much dimmer. Looks like this calamity is finally over. Xiao Lingyu felt a lot more relaxed. She flew out of the cave and flew to the waterfall to check it out. It was the same outside. The blood-red mist was already very thin. Looking as far as the eye could see, there was not a single demon to be found. After Xiao Lingyu observed for a while, she returned to the ground and summoned Xiaoliang, Su Jin, and the other mysterious devil stage experts. She had everyone split up and look at the situation. Everyone split up and searched. After searching for an entire day, they still couldn't find a single demonic creature, so they all flew back. Boss, it looks like the calamity has passed. We don't have to stay in that cave anymore, Xiao Yang said with a relaxed expression. Don't jump to conclusions so early. This place is not far from Blood Moon City. Let's go there and take a look. Xiao Lingyu arranged for Su Jin and the other 3 mysterious devil stage experts to stay in the cave in case of an accident. Then, she led Xiaoliang and the others to Blood Moon City. Before they arrived at Blood Moon City, Xiao Lingyu and the others had already stopped. Then, they turned around and ran without even looking back, because they all saw that in the sky above Blood Moon City, there was actually a mass of blood-colored dense clouds that was ceaselessly revolving. It formed a blood-colored vortex, and from within it, waves of aura that was strong to the point that it caused people to feel fear from afar. The most important thing was that Xiao Lingyu and the others heard the sound of a flute from afar. Although the flute sound was melodious and mellow, in the ears of Xiao Lingyu and the others, it was terrifying. There's definitely no living person over there. Could that flute sound be played by a demonic creature? Xiao Yang said in astonishment while flying at full speed. A demonic creature that can play a flute? That's too inconceivable, a mysterious devil stage expert said. Xiao Lingyu's expression was calm. He didn't say anything and just hurried on with his journey. Of course, everyone's originally relaxed mood became heavy again. Whether it was the mass of blood-red dense clouds or the strange flute sound, it all cast a shadow over everyone's heart. Even though they believed in Xiao Lingyu, they couldn't help but feel a little apprehensive. The entire heavenly bandits began to quietly wait again. Xiao Lingyu was still sitting at the entrance of the cave with his stomach, as if he was thinking about something. One day, 3 years later, Xiao Lingyu, who was sitting at the entrance of the cave, suddenly narrowed his eyes and stood up. His expression was very nervous because he had suddenly heard that familiar flute sound. At first, he thought that it was an illusion. However, as the flute sound gradually became clearer, the mysterious devil stage experts who were originally meditating in the cave came out one by one with a puzzled and worried expression. That flute sound seems to be getting closer and closer, Su Jin said nervously. First Master, what should we do? Xiaoliang asked. Before Xiao Lingyu could answer, a torrential wave of blood had already submerged the surroundings of the waterfall. Everything in front of them was a sea of blood. The flute sound was incomparably clear in everyone's ears. Even though everyone activated their cultivation to form a protective barrier, it was difficult to prevent the sound from entering their ears and affecting their souls. Everyone's expressions gradually became sluggish, but they still had intoxicated smiles on their faces. Only Xiao Lingyu felt that the flute sound was a little strange, but he didn't fall into an intoxicated state. The demonic creatures surged forward in the waves of blood. Some of them sensed Xiao Lingyu's group, but after pouncing at the entrance of the cave, they stared at Xiao Lingyu for a while before turning around and leaving. At most, they would roar at Xiao Lingyu. Gradually, the torrential waves of blood surged forward and the surroundings of the waterfall gradually became clear. The flute sound also slowly faded away, but it suddenly stopped at a certain moment. When the flute sound stopped, Su Jin, Xiaoliang, and the others immediately recovered, but they all had confused expressions. However, before Su Jin and the others could ask about the situation, Xiao Lingyu, who was standing at the very front, suddenly took a step back. Everyone nervously took a step back and then looked at the entrance of the cave. They couldn't help but feel shocked. At this moment, not far from the entrance of the cave, there was a woman wearing a red gauze dress standing in the water curtain. No matter how the water rushed at her, not a single drop of water touched her body. The reason why everyone was as shocked as Xiao Lingyu was because the woman was holding a flute that seemed to be condensed from blood. The woman's red dress fluttered in the wind. She was tall and had a graceful figure. Her eyebrows were picturesque, and her eyes contained limpid autumn water. However, she did not wear shoes, and a pair of snow-white feet accompanied by a lotus root-like ankle was exposed. From the outside, this woman absolutely belonged to the type of beauty that was excessively beautiful, to the point that there was not the slightest trace of a mortal aura. Coupled with the sadness between her eyebrows, it caused one to feel a tender feeling when looking at her, and want to embrace her and properly protect her. However, she appeared here after the waves of blood, and held a flute in her hand. This made the tender feelings that Xiao Lingyu and the others had for her quickly dissipate like snow melting in the spring. Suddenly, a fragrant wind with a faint smell of blood rushed over. The woman floated in front of Xiao Lingyu like a gust of wind. Xiao Lingyu's heart suddenly tightened. Although he was already holding the silver moon broken blade in his hand, he didn't have the courage to attack. He intuitively felt that his body had been sealed. No matter how he moved, his opponent would easily break through. The rest of the mysterious demon experts were the same. They were all incomparably shocked, but could only stand there foolishly without moving. The woman didn't release any powerful aura. Just the aura that faintly leaked out from her body was enough to deter Xiao Lingyu and the others. She stared at Xiao Lingyu for a while, and a look of disappointment appeared on her face. Then, she opened her red lips and said, "If I can't find him, then you'll be in danger. You're just a distraction that he created." After saying this, the woman's figure began to fade until she disappeared. 2 hours after the woman left, Xiao Lingyu and the others suddenly regained their senses. They were all panting and wiping the sweat from their foreheads, as if they had just gone through a difficult battle. What did she mean by those words when she left? Xiao Yang looked at Xiao Lingyu suspiciously and asked, "That's not important. It's better for us to hurry to Blood Moon City. It should be safe there now." After saying this, Xiao Lingyu turned around and entered the cave. After greeting Zhu Jin and the others, he arranged for all the members of the Heavenly Bandits to leave the cave and fly towards Blood Moon City at full speed. Blood Moon City no longer existed, but the teleportation array was still there. Xiao Lingyu looked around and asked Xiao Yang, "Where do you think we should teleport to?" Xiao Yang immediately replied, "We have no choice but to teleport to the nearest Crimson Water continent. This teleportation array can't teleport us too far." "Then let's go to the Crimson Water continent. It's fine as long as we can leave the Blood Moon continent." Xiao Lingyu nodded. Then, under Xiao Yang's arrangement, everyone began to teleport in batches. A few mystical demon experts from the Divine Mourners bandit group were more familiar with the Crimson Water continent, so they teleported there first to provide support. Then, Xiao Yang accompanied Xiao Lingyu to watch the other Heavenly Bandits cultivators teleport. After a full hour, all the Heavenly Bandits members except for Xiao Lingyu and Xiao Yang had teleported out of Blood Moon City. Just as Xiao Lingyu and Xiao Yang were about to enter the teleportation array, they saw rolling waves of blood rushing towards them from afar. Before they even got close, they could already smell the thick smell of blood and hear the sound of a flute. Xiao Lingyu squinted his eyes and faintly saw a beautiful woman in a red dress standing on top of the rolling waves of blood. She held the flute to her lips. "First Master, let's go quickly." After Xiao Yang reminded him, he entered the teleportation array. Xiao Lingyu didn't delay, but just as he was about to move, the woman flashed from afar like a gust of wind. "If you want to leave, take this with you. It can guarantee your safety this time," the woman said as she handed the flute to Xiao Lingyu. Chapter 303. The The Crimson Water continent was one of the closest continents to the Blood Moon continent. However, the cultivators there weren't as strong as those on the Blood Moon continent, and the cultivation resources on the continent weren't abundant. The reason why they chose to come to the Crimson Water continent was because the cultivators here weren't strong enough to pose a threat to the Heavenly Bandit. Although it was one of the closest continents to the Blood Moon continent, there was still a vast star field between the two continents. If cultivators below the Demon Emperor realm were to fly, they wouldn't be able to cross the distance even in 10,000 years. Because of the distance, the calamity on the Blood Moon continent didn't affect the Crimson Water continent much. The cultivators here were still as usual. The plaza at the entrance of Scarlet Water City was extremely lively. It could be described as a sea of people, and the heaven-smiting bandit group, which numbered close to 1,000, did not stand out in the slightest even if they stood together. Those demons can't use the teleportation formation, right? Xiao Yang asked with lingering fear. Of course not. They aren't physical existences. They're just condensed from special energy. Even if they activate the teleportation formation, they'll be annihilated in the spatial turbulence. Su Jin said with certainty. That beautiful demon woman should be able to teleport, but she doesn't seem to have any intention of harming us. A middle-stage mystic demon cultivator said. That means we're safe now. Xiaolingyu rubbed his chin and said. We're lucky to be able to leave the Blood Moon continent with the leader. However, I'm afraid the other cultivators on the Blood Moon continent are doomed. Xiao Yang sighed. Why? Does Leader Xia still care about the lives of those irrelevant people? Su Jin asked with a smile. Of course not. I just think it's a pity. Xiao Yang shook his head. What's a pity? Su Jin asked curiously. It's a pity that there are countless treasures and cultivation resources on the Blood Moon continent. If we could sweep the entire continent, our wealth would definitely skyrocket. Xiao Yang said with regret. Forget it. It's good enough that we're still alive. If we went to sweep those treasures, who knows if we'd have the chance to leave the Blood Moon continent alive. Su Jin said with some disdain. That's right. No matter how many treasures there are, we still need to be alive to enjoy them. A mystic demon cultivator nodded in agreement. At that time, everyone only had one thought in their hearts, and that was to leave the Blood Moon continent alive. They didn't have the extravagant hope of taking all the treasures on the Blood Moon continent for themselves, even though those treasures had no owner. Truth be told, if you want the treasures of the Blood Moon continent, it is very simple. Just teleport back, Xiaolingyu said smilingly. Haha, First Master, don't scare me. Even if you give me 100 guts, I won't dare to go back. Xiao Yang scratched his head and said with a careless look. Where are we going next? Xiaolingyu asked. Xiao Yang pondered for a moment before saying, Let's go to the Northern Sea continent. There is a large-scale interstellar teleportation array there. Once we pass through the Northern Sea continent, we can leave the Blood Moon continent in one go. Then let's go to the Northern Ocean continent. The situation on the Blood Moon continent is too special. It's better to be as far away as possible. Xiaolingyu nodded. In less than a day, the cultivators of the Heavenly Bandits completed another teleportation and arrived at the Northern Ocean continent. The Northern Ocean continent was relatively large. It was one of the largest continents in the northwest of the Devil Realm. There were many experts on the continent. Whether it was the abundance of cultivation resources or the level of experts, it was a grade higher than the Blood Moon continent. One more teleportation and we'll be far away from the dangers of the Blood Moon continent. Xiao Yang said with a relaxed expression as he looked at the 6 towering pillars in the Northern Ocean City's plaza. However, what Xiao Yang, Xiaolingyu, and the others did not expect was that after waiting for half a day, just as it was about to be the turn of the heaven-smiting bandit group's cultivators to use the teleportation formation, a large group of city guard experts suddenly surged out of North Wall City. After a few shouts, the city guard experts surrounded the teleportation formation. Under the orders of the city lord, the teleportation array is temporarily sealed. Everyone, please return and wait patiently. A mysterious demon stage city guard shouted. The cultivators who were waiting at the teleportation array were very depressed, disappointed, and even angry. However, they could only curse a few times before leaving resentfully. Xiaolingyu and the others were originally relaxed, but now their faces became gloomy. They were about to completely get rid of the nightmare of the Blood Moon continent, but now unexpected problems had arisen. It really made them feel depressed. No one asked why the teleportation array was sealed. It wasn't that the city guards didn't want to answer, but that they simply wouldn't tell you the truth. Xiaolingyu didn't waste his breath on the city guards. He frowned and said to Xiaoliang, "Let's find a place to stay first. We have many people. It's not suitable for us to enter the Northern Ocean City. We've stayed in the Northern Ocean continent for a while before. How about we go to the place where the Divine Mourner bandit group stayed before?" Xiaoliang suggested. "Is it far from here?" Su Zhen asked. "Not far. It's only a little more than 2 hours away," Xiaoliang replied. Everyone in the Heavenly Bandits followed Xiaoliang's lead and headed towards the southeast of the Northern Ocean City. After a little more than 2 hours, the group arrived at a boundless mountain forest. They stopped next to a tree that was nearly 300 feet tall. Xiaoliang stood in front of the tree roots and began to silently chant an incantation. After a few moments, the bark of the big tree split open, revealing a door. This place is very hidden. If an ordinary cultivator came here, they wouldn't be able to see through it without carefully examining it. Xiaolingyu praised and followed Xiaoliang into the tree hole. The trunk of the tree was about 10 meters in diameter, but the space in the tree hole wasn't large. However, there was an underground cave in the tree hole. A stone staircase led from the tree hole to the depths of the cave. It was so deep that they couldn't see the bottom. Xiaoliang led the way down the staircase. After 100 breaths of time, they reached the end of the staircase. There was a tunnel at the bottom of the cave. After walking for about the time it took to brew a cup of tea, they arrived at an extremely large underground cave. There were many stone tables and stone benches in the cave. Moreover, there were countless stone doors that were densely packed together. Xiaolingyu carefully examined the cave with his mind. After confirming that there were no problems, he said, "Call them down." Under normal circumstances, the city guards would only lock down the teleportation formation for 3 to 5 months at most. Most of the time, it was to repair the teleportation formation or adjust the astrolabe of the teleportation formation. However, the Northern Sea continent's interstellar teleportation formation had not been reactivated even after nearly a year had passed. In the beginning, no one was in a hurry. However, the longer they waited, the more impatient they became. If it weren't for the fact that Xiaolingyu, the leader of the Heavenly Bandits, was extremely calm, everyone would have been thrown into chaos. "Boss, since we can't leave now, why don't we do something?" An early profound demon cultivator suggested. Xiaolingyu knew that everyone was too bored. After all, they didn't know when the teleportation array would reactivate and when they would be able to leave. Therefore, they couldn't enter a state of seclusion and cultivate. It was only natural that they would feel bored waiting in the cave. It's best not to do it here. There are countless experts in the Northern Ocean continent. The chances of us encountering a demon monarch expert is very high. Moreover, we don't have a demon monarch expert on our side. Even if we succeed in robbing them, we won't be able to leave the Northern Ocean continent. If we don't do it well, we might get into big trouble. Xiaoliang immediately rejected that suggestion. "Don't worry, everyone. We'll do it when we're far away from the Blood Moon continent." Xiaolingyu maintained a smile, as if he was very patient. In fact, Xiaolingyu was more anxious than anyone else. He had a feeling that the Northern Ocean continent's interstellar teleportation array had something to do with the Blood Moon continent. After a period of quiet contemplation, Xiaolingyu recalled that woman and what she had said to him. He felt that he wasn't safe. The special blood energy in his body was like a curse that could threaten his life at any time. As for the flute, Xiaolingyu would occasionally summon up the courage to take it out and have a look. However, he didn't dare to delve into it. He only stroked it with his hands and looked at it with his eyes. He didn't even dare to touch it with his consciousness. That woman had said that this flute could save Xiaolingyu's life in the future. Xiaolingyu was also skeptical about this. However, he had even more reason to believe that it was very likely to be true. Otherwise, why would that woman waste her breath on him? If that woman wanted to scheme against him, with her strength, it would be as easy as lifting a finger. However, Xiaolingyu was also very suspicious. He wasn't related to that woman at all. Why would she give him a treasure that she always carried around with her? In short, Xiaolingyu's feelings were extremely complicated when he stroked the flute. He could guess that the woman definitely didn't give this flute to him simply to save his life. There was definitely another reason. However, he still didn't dare to throw it away so easily. Waiting for a year was nothing to everyone. After all, everyone would cultivate in seclusion for at least 1,000 years. However, after waiting for another 3 years, the brothers that Xiaoliang had arranged at the Interstellar Teleportation Array Plaza still sent word that the Interstellar Teleportation Array Plaza was still sealed. Many cultivators who couldn't wait to leave the Northern Ocean continent had gathered around the Interstellar Teleportation Array Plaza to cause trouble. However, they were ignored by the city guards every time. Some were even mercilessly suppressed. It was said that even a demon lord-level expert had been mobilized. Xiao Yang and the rest had been comforting the members of the Heavenly Bandits, telling them to calm down and wait quietly. Fortunately, everyone had just escaped death. In addition, with the deterrence of the Heavenly Bandits experts, they were very obedient. However, after half a year, the Heavenly Bandits were still quietly waiting in this secret cave. However, the brothers who were on guard in the tree hole sent a warning. Xiaolingyu and the rest of the Heavenly Bandits experts immediately got up. However, before they could leave the cave, they saw a cultivator barge in. Chapter 304. Hee, it's useless for you to hide here. As long as you come to the Northern Sea continent, I will definitely be able to find you. The cultivator slowly walked forward and said with a strange smile. Xiaolingyu was very suspicious when he heard this. He clearly did not know this person, and did not know when he had a grudge with him. Why did this person seem to be looking for him? However, a moment later, Xiaolingyu guessed that he had the same bloody light as the newcomer. He guessed that the newcomer had come because of this. There are quite a lot of people, but they are all too weak. I advise you to surrender. The cultivator touched his chin and said with an evil smile. Do we have a grudge with you? Xiaolingyu asked calmly. No, we don't even know each other. The cultivator shook his head. Then why do you want us to surrender? Xiaolingyu asked again. He could feel that the cultivator's strength was indeed stronger than him, but he should be at the early stage of Demon Monarch. There were so many mystical demon stage and spirit demon stage cultivators here, so they might be able to deal with him. Because between you and me, only one can live. The cultivator said very straightforwardly. Why? Xiaolingyu was nervous at this time, and the 6 demons suppressing immortal orbs were ready to move. Haha, because if both of us are alive, neither of us will live for more than 1,000,000 years. Of course, you don't know that both of us are like this, and there are many existences like us. In the end, only one of us can survive, and the rest will die. The cultivator said with a sinister smile. Then why don't you make a move? Xiaolingyu said indifferently. The cultivator seemed to be very confident, but in fact, he did not make a move since he came here, and it was obvious that he did not have absolute confidence in winning. This is just a grudge between you and me, and I don't want to kill more people. If you know what's good for you, then go out and fight with me, and let's fight to the death." Speaking until here, the cultivator looked around, and looked at the heavenly bandits experts behind Xiaolingyu, and said, "If you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being ruthless." Obviously, this was deliberately to divide Xiaolingyu and the others, and also to warn the heavenly bandits experts not to act rashly except for Xiaolingyu. Is your brain flooded with water? You want to kill our leader, of course we will kill you together. How can we let our leader fight you alone? Just as everyone was frowning and muttering to themselves, Zhu Jin, who had the weakest cultivation, suddenly stepped forward and loudly cursed. Although Xiaolingyu did not help to destroy the Meng family, he was still as loyal to Xiaolingyu as he was before. To destroy. Moreover, if Xiaolingyu really died, even if the person who came didn't kill the rest of the heaven-smiting bandit group, Zhu Jin's future days would definitely not be easy. Xiaolingyu glanced at Zhu Jin without batting an eyelid, but he was still very grateful. He was also afraid of facing this demon lord expert alone. "Don't worry, First Master. You're the one who brought us out of the Blood Moon continent. You're the one who gave us our lives. If this bastard wants to kill you, he'll have to step over our dead bodies first." Su Zhen also stood up with a look of hatred for a common enemy. "Us too!" The experts of the God-Mourning Bandit group shouted in unison. In fact, Xiaolingyu knew that these experts made this choice because he was their savior, because they had sworn to listen to Xiaolingyu's orders, and because they did not think that this person would really let them go. When the person saw this, he could not help but frown. He did not expect that there would be so many mysterious demon experts here. He thought that he could easily take them down, but he ended up in such an awkward situation. This place was set up by the demon lord of the God-Mourning Bandit group. Naturally, it could prevent early-stage demon lord cultivators from probing. The reason why he wasted his breath was because he was carefully observing the level of the cultivators in the cave. The more he observed, the more difficult it was for him. Although there was no demon lord here, there were too many cultivators. Even if he could win and kill the target, he would definitely be seriously injured. If he encountered other cultivators in the same situation, he would definitely be killed. If he fought, he might not win. If he did not fight, he did not know if he would have another chance in the future. Haha. Just as they were confronting each other, the person suddenly laughed and said, "How about this? Let's not rush to determine victory and defeat and life and death. Let's cooperate for now. If we meet other people in the future, we will work together to kill them. When only the two of us are left, we will fight again. How about it?" Xiaolingyu also knew that the other party did not dare to make a move easily, so he suggested a temporary solution. After thinking for a while, he said, "It's not impossible to cooperate, but before that, I want to know everything you know." The person naturally knew what Xiaolingyu wanted to know, but he shook his head and said, "I can only tell you some things if we cooperate." Xiaolingyu thought about it and agreed. They had not even started cooperating, so how could the other party leak some secrets? "Okay, I agree. We will cooperate for now. Of course, for both of us to be at ease, it's better for us to make a soul oath for this cooperation," Xiaolingyu replied. "That's exactly what I want." After that, the person who came quickly made an oath. After Xiaolingyu also made the oath, the person said, "This is a serious matter. Let's talk alone." "Okay, come with me." Xiaolingyu nodded and then led the person to a secret room. He then used his chaotic energy and a curse to set up a restriction in the secret room to prevent others from peeping. "It seems that you have benefited greatly. The energy in your body has mutated and become stronger than mine," the person praised after sensing the aura of the chaotic energy. In fact, the person did not know that the reason why Xiaolingyu's energy was so strong was not because of the blood-colored energy in his body, but because the chaotic energy was originally extraordinary. Xiaolingyu took the initiative to show his strength and let the other party know that he was not a pushover. Xiaolingyu had no intention to explain the energy he cultivated and said calmly, "Let's talk frankly." The person who came was also a straightforward person and did not dawdle. He asked, "You should know about the Blood Moon continent, right?" Xiaolingyu nodded and did not say that he came from the Blood Moon continent. The person continued, "All of this is related to the blood moon in the night sky of the Blood Moon continent. That blood moon is actually not a planet, nor is it a material object. It is only formed by countless demonic creatures. And among those demonic creatures, there is a powerful existence whose cultivation is not weaker than the Demon Lord." Hearing this, Xiaolingyu's originally calm expression immediately changed. The Demon Lord, the most powerful existence in the demon realm. It is said that he has the strength of a god. The smile on the person's face disappeared and he said solemnly, "That Demon Lord has existed for countless years. His strength is very strong. He is so strong that he is unrivaled in the immortal, demon and demon realms. But because he is too strong, he is very proud and arrogant. Because of this, he offended many venerables in the three realms. In the end, he was besieged by them and almost died. In the past, there were many venerables in the three realms. But because of that battle, just to besiege him, the three realms lost 80 to 90% of their venerables. Until now, the number of venerables in the three realms has not recovered to its original number." "Has he recovered?" Xiaolingyu interrupted and asked. "I don't know what his current situation is, but I know that he is definitely not dead. The demonic creature in the blood moon in the sky of the Blood Moon continent was actually created by him using a supreme divine technique. It was also because of this divine technique that his life was saved. I don't know the specifics, but at that time, those venerables who came to besiege him set up a powerful sealing formation on the Blood Moon continent. Now, that formation must have been broken and he must have awakened from his deep sleep." The person who came shook his head and explained. Connecting the person's words to the situation on the Blood Moon continent, it was easier for Xiaolingyu to understand and deduce some things. "Then what's going on with us?" Xiaolingyu asked. "We are fish eyes that he made to pass off as pearls. We all have a wisp of his life imprint on our bodies. This life imprint is very beneficial to our cultivation. After fusing with our bodies, it will not appear. Only when we meet other cultivators who also have his life imprint, or when we meet him, will a bloody light overflow from our bodies. That bloody light is the embodiment of his life imprint. It is difficult to suppress or hide it unless one's cultivation is at the venerable's level." The person explained patiently. "Then why can only one of us survive?" Xiaolingyu asked, puzzled. "Among us cultivators who have his life imprint, there is one who not only has a wisp of his life imprint, but also his soul consciousness. Under the control of his soul consciousness, that cultivator will kill all of us and devour all of our cultivation. In fact, he left a wisp of his life imprint on us to erode our bodies and cultivation, and even our souls. I can calculate that we only have 1,000,000 years. If we can't cultivate to the venerable's level in this 1,000,000 years, then both our bodies and souls will be completely changed. However, it is almost impossible to cultivate to the venerable's level in 1,000,000 years. Therefore, our only way out is to kill each other and try our best to collect more of his life imprints in order to counterattack." The person who came continued to explain. "Can we really counterattack?" Xiaolingyu asked anxiously. Chapter 305. "How do you know so much?" Xiaolingyu asked, puzzled. "Don't worry, I'm not the one with his soul consciousness. If I were, I wouldn't be telling you this," the person said with a smile. "Now that the seal has been broken, won't the experts who sealed him before ask about this?" Xiaolingyu asked again. "Most of the experts who sealed him before have already ascended to the God realm. However, there will definitely be people who will ask about this. The demon realm's supremacy level experts probably already know about this, and someone will come to check it out personally. He can also think of this, so he scattered his life essence to deceive the demon realm's experts who will come to check and buy time for him to recover completely. Actually, we all have another purpose, which is to pretend to be genuine and act as shields for his soul consciousness, the person explained. If that's the case, aren't we all in danger? Once those demon realms experts discover us, they will definitely kill us, Xiaoling Yu said with a frown. Hee, unless you're unlucky enough to meet a demon supremacy, otherwise, even a peak late-stage demon emperor won't be able to see that we have his life imprint on us. The person shook his head and laughed. The demon realm was too big, and the number of demon supremacies was pitifully small. Moreover, even a demon supremacy would find it difficult to carefully search the entire demon realm. But if we're too scattered, how can we accumulate more than half of his life essence in a mere 1,000,000 years? Xiaoling Yu was a little worried. It's a little difficult, but for cultivators like us, as long as we exist in the same continent, we can sense each other's existence. As long as we keep searching in various continents, 1,000,000 years may not be enough. If we can find the one with his soul consciousness earlier, and we have more of his life essence in our bodies, even if we don't have more than half of his life essence, we can still destroy him, the person said with confidence. You should be the only one who knows about this situation, right? Xiaoling Yu asked again. Not necessarily. Cultivators on the Blood Moon continent and the Devil Realm continent near the Blood Moon continent, as well as many mystical demons and devil monarchs, know a little about the legends of the Blood Moon continent. In addition, there are related records in some ancient books. Cultivators like us, who have his life essence, can make a rough guess as long as we investigate carefully. Therefore, we have to kill as many of them as possible before they find out. We have to plunder the life essence of the demon sovereign as much as possible so that we can have more courage and capital to face the person with the demon sovereign's soul consciousness, the person said calmly. Xiaoling Yu just nodded silently, but she was very depressed in her heart. She entered the Blood Moon Tower to cultivate. Although she finally succeeded in advancing to the chaotic void refining stage, she didn't expect that she would have such a big burden. The person in front of her said it was easy and skillful, but if he wanted to kill a cultivator with the soul consciousness of the demon venerable, he would definitely die. Actually, all of us were recently invaded by the life imprint of the demon sovereign. Everyone is now scattered across the Devil Realm continents, not far from the Blood Moon continent. Now is the best time for us to launch a sneak attack on others and plunder the life essence of the demon sovereign, the person continued. But now that the teleportation formation of the Northern Ocean continent has been sealed, we can't leave. How can we plunder? Xiaoling Yu said helplessly. It's still early. Our current mission is not to plunder, but to protect ourselves. Now, not only the teleportation formation of the Northern Ocean continent has been sealed, but also the continents near the Blood Moon continent. This must be the work of the top experts of the Devil Realm. Their goal is to find the demon venerable's soul consciousness, the person said with a smile. If the demon venerable's soul consciousness is found and destroyed, what will we do? Xiaoling Yu asked again. If his soul consciousness is destroyed, the life imprint he left on us will be ownerless. It will be the best tonic for us. However, his soul consciousness is also at the level of the demon venerable. Moreover, with his cultivation back then, even the current demon venerable will have a hard time finding him. It is basically impossible to count on the experts of the Devil Realm to destroy the demon venerable's soul consciousness, the person said with a pessimistic tone. At this point, the two of them fell silent for a while. After thinking carefully for a while, Xiaoling Yu suddenly said, "You said that as long as we are in the same Devil Realm continent, we will be able to sense each other's presence. How do you do that?" The person said, "I can sense it naturally. I don't need any spells or incantations." Xiaoling Yu frowned and asked, "Then why didn't I sense your presence before?" The person said with a smile, because your cultivation level is not as high as mine. I can sense you, but you can't sense me. If there is one or more people with a higher cultivation level than us who also have the demon Venerable's life imprint and are also in the Northern Ocean continent, then we won't be able to sense his presence, but he can easily find us. Xiao Lingyu's heart tightened when she heard this. Don't worry. If there really is someone with a higher cultivation level than us in the Northern Ocean continent, why would the two of us be chatting here? The person said with a relaxed smile. How long will this transportation formation be sealed? Xiao Lingyu continued to ask. I don't know. After all, the Devil Realm is not like the Immortal Realm. The big shots of the Devil Realm never consider too much when they do things, nor do they consider the benefits of low-level cultivators. If they really care about this matter, then they will seal the transportation formation indefinitely until the Demon Venerable's soul consciousness is found. If they don't care about this matter, then they will reopen the transportation formation regardless of whether they find it or not. The person shook his head and said, If there really are experts from the Devil Realm searching everywhere, then wouldn't it be very dangerous for the two of us to be together? Xiao Lingyu looked at the bloody light on her body and said worriedly, That's why I can't stay here for long. After I'm done talking with you, I have to leave. The person said, Do you have any other questions? What's your name? Xiao Lingyu tilted her head and asked. Ran Kai. After replying, the person left the secret room and the secret cave. He's leaving just like that? Xiao Yang and the others had been waiting outside the secret room all this time. When they saw Ran Kai leave, they were very surprised. Why? Do you guys really want to fight him? Xiao Lingyu asked with a smile. No. Didn't he say that he wanted to work with us? Xiao Yang asked in confusion. If we're working together, then do we have to be together? Xiao Lingyu asked in return. She went outside and began to repair everything that Ran Kai had destroyed. After talking with Ran Kai for a long time, Xiao Lingyu felt the pressure on her body grow heavier. Her heart seemed to be covered by a layer of shadow. After that, they continued to wait. After Xiao Lingyu calmed her mind, she knew that the transportation formation wouldn't be reopened for a short period of time. She began to cultivate quietly. Intermediate and advanced curses, soul-rending demonic palm, chaos demonic seal. Perhaps it was because Ran Kai's arrival had reminded everyone that there were indeed many experts in the Northern Ocean continent. Therefore, the other members of the Heavenly Bandits became even more obedient. No one dared to say that they wanted to leave. After waiting for another 30 years, Xiao Lingyu, who was in seclusion, suddenly opened his eyes. This was because he felt an incomparably tyrannical devil sense sweep through the cave and then disappear. That demonic sense had only swept across Xiao Lingyu's chaos demonic nascent soul, and his soul trembled. It was many times stronger than the demonic sense of Ran Kai, who was at the demonic sovereign level. There really are experts searching for us, Xiao Lingyu muttered. After another half a year, the transportation formation of the Northern Ocean continent was finally reopened. Those experts must have searched the entire Northern Ocean continent thoroughly. The cultivators of the Heavenly Bandits waited at the transportation formation plaza for 5 days before it was their turn to be transported. After all, there were too many cultivators who were trapped in the Northern Ocean continent and were in a hurry to leave. Before they were transported, Xiao Lingyu saw Ran Kai. However, the two of them didn't dare to get too close. They communicated through voice transmission from afar. Brother Xiao, where are you going? Ran Kai asked through voice transmission. Somewhere far away. The continents near the Blood Moon continent are too dangerous, Xiao Lingyu replied honestly. If you go far away, how are you going to find those who have the demonic sovereign's life imprint? How are we going to continue working together? Ran Kai seemed displeased. Don't worry. I won't go far. I'm just sending my people off, Xiao Lingyu replied with a smile. That's good. I believe that if we work together, we can definitely obtain a lot of the demonic sovereign's life essence, Ran Kai said confidently. When the time comes, Brother Ran will be able to kill me with the advantage of your cultivation level. Then, you'll quickly become one of the strongest cultivators in the Devil Realm, Xiao Lingyu said meaningfully. Haha, that's a story for the future. We don't even know if the two of us can survive until then, Ran Kai said with a laugh. Xiao Lingyu didn't reply. If Ran Kai was telling the truth, then he had to be on guard against Ran Kai. He couldn't let this guy improve too quickly. Moreover, he had to work hard to cultivate. At the very least, he had to be strong enough to not fear Ran Kai. Regardless of whether Ran Kai was telling the truth or not, Xiao Lingyu would rather believe him. After all, he couldn't find any loopholes in Ran Kai's words. He could only choose to believe Ran Kai. Before they were transported, Xiao Lingyu communicated with Zhu Jin, Xiaoliang, and the others. Then, he quietly watched the members of the Heavenly Bandits being transported in batches. We're going to the Crimson Water continent now. After waiting for another half a day, it was finally Ran Kai's turn to be transported. He said a few words to Xiao Lingyu and entered the transportation formation. After Ran Kai was transported away, Xiao Lingyu stood in place for a while. After hesitating for a while, he still lined up and entered the transportation formation. He also went to the Crimson Water continent. Ran Kai was waiting for Xiao Lingyu at the transportation formation square of the Crimson Water continent. After Xiao Lingyu walked out of the transportation formation, Ran Kai transmitted his voice to him. I've found a target. He's in Crimson Water City. Then, the two of them entered Crimson Water City one after the other. They kept their distance from each other like strangers. He's here. Chapter 306. Actually, as soon as they walked out of the teleportation array, Xiao Lingyu suddenly had a very mysterious feeling in her heart. It was as if there was a family member somewhere on this continent that was calling out to her. But fighting is also prohibited in Scarlet Water City. Are we supposed to just go up and fight? Xiao Lingyu asked through voice transmission as she stood on the opposite side of the street. Of course we can't just charge in. Moreover, we have to keep a distance from him when there are outsiders around. Otherwise, our bodies will overflow with bloody light. Once the news spreads, our whereabouts will be exposed, Ran Kai replied. Then what do we do now? Xiao Lingyu asked again. It's very simple. Wait outside for him to come out and then follow him. If he leaves the city or goes to a place with fewer people, it won't be too late for us to make a move. Ran Kai seemed to be very patient as he replied. At that moment, the two of them kept a distance of 7 to 8 feet as they silently stared at the entrance of the restaurant. After waiting for nearly 4 hours, Ran Kai transmitted his voice to Xiao Lingyu. Do you see that young master dressed in embroidered clothes? Our target is him. The young master had a handsome appearance and was dressed in bright clothes. At this moment, he seemed to be slightly drunk. Beside him was a beautiful woman and 2 large men with indifferent expressions. After they walked out of the restaurant, they walked slowly while Xiao Lingyu and Ran Kai followed from a distance. As they walked, the young master seemed to stumble unintentionally. The graceful woman with a somewhat fox-like figure hurriedly supported him. Who would have thought that the young master seemed as if he could no longer stand and stuck close to the woman. One of his arms even wrapped around her willowy waist, and his large hands were even mischievously kneading the woman's perky buttocks. The woman didn't seem to mind. She continued to support the young master, and the charming smile on her face became more and more pronounced. Everyone walked all the way to a courtyard. The 2 large men guarded the entrance and didn't enter the courtyard. The woman and the young master walked in with their bodies close to each other. There weren't many pedestrians in the vicinity because this wasn't a commercial area, but a residential area. There weren't many shops, only courtyards that were separated by more than 1,000 feet. These courtyards were bought by cultivators for permanent residence. Since fighting was prohibited in the big city, and the residents were protected by the city guards, many wealthy people would spend large amounts of devil stones to purchase real estate in the big city. However, most cultivators would only be able to buy 2 or 3 rooms. Only a very small number of wealthy cultivators could afford such a spacious courtyard with a superior environment. The residences in the city, whether they were 2 or 3 rooms or large courtyards, were all protected by restrictions set up by the experts of the city lord mansion. In addition, there was always a large number of city guards patrolling the city, so the residences of the cultivators were very safe. There was no need to hire other guards. After all, there was no absolute guarantee of safety. The houses in the city were so expensive, so who would be willing to buy them? There aren't any experts in this courtyard. The strongest one here is only at the late-stage spirit demon realm. Who do you think will fight? Ran Kai was at the early stage of the devil monarch realm, so the courtyard's protective restriction was unable to isolate his devil sense. After he scanned the courtyard, he asked Xiaolingyu. Whoever fought would naturally be able to obtain the blood-colored life essence from the young master. Xiaolingyu thought for a moment and said, "I'll do it. There's no need to use a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. I'll trouble Brother Ran when I meet someone stronger in the future." Ran Kai said straightforwardly, "I'll keep a lookout for you outside. Remember, no one inside can be left behind, and don't give them a chance to send a message." There were very few people in the devil realm who were soft-hearted. Xiaolingyu knew that he was also a decisive person, and there were many innocent people who died tragically in his hands. Therefore, after taking a deep breath, he stepped toward the door. "Stop! Do you have," without waiting for the second man to finish his words, Xiaolingyu had already floated between them like a ghost. Furthermore, he used 2 large hands like iron pincers to choke their necks, and brought them along to smash open the courtyard's door. This speed is a little slow, but it's definitely enough to deal with the people in this courtyard. Ran Kai looked at the courtyard's door that was already open and revealed a somewhat thought-provoking smile. There was also a restriction on the courtyard's door. When it was broken open like this, it would naturally send out a warning signal. However, this warning signal only warned that there was a strong person attacking. It would not specify who the person was or what characteristics he or she had. However, this warning signal would not only inform the cultivators in the courtyard, but also the nearby city guard experts. It would not be long before a large number of city guards would arrive. Xiaolingyu also understood this. He knew that he did not have much time, so after entering the door, he suddenly exerted force in his palms. His chaotic demonic power quickly rushed into the 2 big men's bodies and ended their lives. These 2 big men were only in the late stage of the true demon realm. Facing the current Xiaolingyu, they were like babies facing a strong man. "Who are you?" There was a stone path in the courtyard. A middle-aged cultivator with the early stage of the spirit demon realm pointed at Xiaolingyu and shouted. In order to save time, Xiaolingyu appeared behind him with the wings of extreme speed. His body flashed and turned into a silver light that swept past the middle-aged cultivator. Before the middle-aged cultivator could do anything to defend himself, his head had already floated high into the air and then exploded into a bloody mist. His body quickly turned into a pool of black venom that emitted black smoke on the ground, as if he had been poisoned. Even the demon infant could not escape. With the silver moon broken saber in his hand and the poisonous chaotic demonic power infused into it, coupled with the speed of the wings of extreme speed, Xiaolingyu was not a match at all in this small courtyard. Currently, he could still fight against a mystic demon realm expert. There was a world of difference between him and those below the mystic demon realm. This is a bit interesting. However, with just this strength, he is not as good as the demon lord. Ran Kai had been using his demonic sense to observe the courtyard as he smiled and muttered to himself. The reason why he agreed to let Xiaolingyu make the first move was to see if Xiaolingyu was strong enough and ruthless enough. He wanted to see if Xiaolingyu was a satisfactory partner. There were not many cultivators in the courtyard. The city lord's mansion had a rule that such a courtyard could only house 20 people at most. Xiao Lingyu only used 5 breaths of time to kill 11 people. However, when Xiao Lingyu rushed into a room and saw 2 people, he frowned and retreated. This was because the 2 people in the room were mother and son. The mother was only at the mid-stage of the true demon realm, and her son was still in swaddling clothes and had probably just been born. For those strong men and cultivators who intended to resist, Xiao Lingyu could be ruthless and kill them. After all, in a place like the Devil World, where people ate people, if you didn't kill, you would be killed. Kindness was the most undesirable personality in the Devil World, but when he saw the mother and son, he really couldn't do it. Sigh, this kid is still not ruthless enough. However, this is equivalent to having a weakness. I like it. Ran Kai thought in his heart as he killed the terrified woman holding the swaddling clothes. Even the child was turned into nothingness under his demonic flames. At this time, 10 breaths had already passed. In Ran Kai's demonic sense, a large number of city guards had already rushed over. However, his expression was still very relaxed because he also saw that Xiao Lingyu had also found the young master. The young master's cultivation was only at the peak of the mid-stage of the true demon realm. In front of Xiao Lingyu, he was as weak as tofu. In Ran Kai's opinion, Xiao Lingyu could kill the young master in at most 1 breath and instantly seize his essence. However, when Xiao Lingyu pushed open the door of the room where the young master was, he was stunned for a moment because the young master and the woman had already taken off their clothes. The young master was holding the woman's plump buttocks and entering from the rear court, constantly shaking his body. The woman's arms were propped up on the bed, and a pair of white pigeon-like lumps of meat swayed between her body and the bed, causing Xiao Lingyu to be on fire at this moment. Seeing Xiao Lingyu come in, the man's expression changed and he shouted, "Who are you? Who let you in? Get out quickly!" Even if he was cursing, the man did not stop and was still moving back and forth, not realizing that his body was already glistening with blood. The woman did not even open her eyes and was still moaning, not caring that there were outsiders watching at this time. Sure enough, they were a pair of dogs. Xiao Lingyu quickly came back to his senses, and the silver moon broken blade flashed with chaotic demonic light, erasing the 2 people enjoying on the bed. When Xiao Lingyu was about to absorb the life essence of the young master, he actually felt very disgusted, as if he was about to eat a rotten fruit. Even if it was a little disgusting, but for his own life, Xiao Lingyu still braced himself and did it. After all, the young master's cultivation was too weak. Xiao Lingyu only used 1 breath to extract all his life essence, and then left the room. Just as he walked to the door of the courtyard, Xiao Lingyu had already felt a very strong aura enveloping the surroundings. He could not help but be shocked because this aura was very strong. It should be released by a demon monarch level expert. When he left the courtyard, his heart calmed down slightly. That aura was not released by an expert city guard, but by Ran Kai, who was outside acting as a lookout. The purpose was to intimidate the city guards who wanted to approach. The last time he came to the Crimson Water Continent, Xiao Yang said that the cultivators on the Crimson Water Continent were not as strong as those on the Blood Moon Continent. A demon monarch level expert could act unscrupulously here, even in Crimson Water City. When the city guards felt Ran Kai's aura, none of them dared to rush over. After all, this was beyond their control. They would not die for nothing. Let's go to the teleportation array. When Xiao Lingyu came out, Ran Kai took the lead and went to the city gate. At this time, there were no demon monarch level experts in Crimson Water City. Even if there were, they might not stand out, so Ran Kai and Xiao Lingyu easily left the city. The demon monarch aura on Ran Kai's body also made the cultivators lining up at the teleportation array square move aside. Let's go to the Southern Sea Continent. Chapter 307. The Southern Sea Continent and the Northern Sea Continent shared similar names. In reality, the 2 continents weren't very far from each other. However, the southern sea continent wasn't as prosperous as the northern sea continent. It was also more than 100 times smaller. The southern sea continent wasn't very big to begin with, but most of it was covered by the ocean. More than 80% of the continent was covered by water. The number of cultivators in this world of water wasn't even 1,000th of the northern sea continents. After walking out of the teleportation formation, Xiaolingyu found himself in a teleportation formation plaza. There were less than 100 people around him. Ran Kai hadn't gone far. He was at the edge of the plaza. When Xiaolingyu walked out of the crowd, he sent a sound transmission to him. "You'll do it again this time." Xiaolingyu walked out of the teleportation formation plaza and carefully sensed his surroundings. To his dismay, he couldn't sense the person they were looking for on this continent. "I was the one who did it last time. I won't snatch it this time. After all, we're working together. I have to show some sincerity. I can't always take advantage of you." Xiaolingyu sent a sound transmission back. "Haha, that works too." Ran Kai laughed loudly and flew towards the east. Xiaolingyu naturally followed far behind. However, Ran Kai continued to lead the way. After flying in a straight line for an hour, he suddenly changed directions and flew towards the west. Xiaolingyu didn't quite understand. However, Ran Kai knew very well in his heart. Ran Kai had let Xiaolingyu make the first move because he wanted to see if Xiaolingyu could sense his target's location. If he couldn't, it meant that Xiaolingyu's cultivation was inferior to his target's. However, Xiaolingyu's answer just now made Ran Kai uncertain. Therefore, he led Xiaolingyu in the wrong direction to see if Xiaolingyu would warn him or question him. If Xiaolingyu simply followed and didn't realize that they were going in the wrong direction, then everything would be very clear. How strange. This guy isn't even in the middle stage of the profound demon realm. How can he be so strong? The demon lord's life imprint shouldn't have allowed him to make such a huge leap. After Ran Kai confirmed that Xiaolingyu's cultivation wasn't high, he was very puzzled about Xiaolingyu's strength. The two of them flew at full speed for nearly 2 days before stopping near a small island. "This place is not bad. There are no cultivators around. Our target is the only one on this small island. When we attack, there is no need to hold back." Ran Kai sent a secret vocal transmission to Xiaolingyu. "Then let me congratulate Brother Ran on your victory," Xiaolingyu replied with a smile. At this moment, Xiaolingyu had already guessed that Ran Kai was testing her previously. However, the two of them had already sworn that at least before they reached the final step, she did not have to worry too much about Ran Kai harming her. Ran Kai did not dawdle. He immediately flew towards the small island and directly released the aura of an early demon lord, sealing off the entire island. Just as Ran Kai landed on the island, a colorful light suddenly shone from the center of the island, enveloping a small mountain. It was obvious that the colorful light was released by a defensive array, and Ran Kai's target was within the light barrier. There is actually such a powerful array protecting it. However, a mere array can't stop me. Ran Kai snorted coldly. Then, a demonic saber, a demonic sword, and an iron hammer flew out from his body. All of them surged with power and then blasted towards the colorful light. The 3 offensive magic treasures were all top-grade demonic weapons. Each of them had extraordinary power. However, the defensive power of the array seemed to be very strong. Although it was shaking non-stop, it did not show any signs of collapsing quickly. It seemed to be able to resist for a period of time. "Brother Xiao, come and help." Ran Kai attacked with all his might for a while. Seeing that the array was still very stable, he called Xiaolingyu to help. "Who dares to be so presumptuous here?" Xiaolingyu was about to make a move when she heard an angry rebuke from afar. Then, she saw an old man wearing a purple robe appear on the top of the mountain. "Oh no, it's the demon lord!" Ran Kai immediately retreated and reminded Xiaolingyu. "Can you beat him?" Xiaolingyu asked directly. "At most, I can only restrain him," Ran Kai replied. You restrain him. I will end the target, Xiaoling said indifferently. Okay. Ran Kai replied in a deep voice. Then, he directly controlled his 3 top-grade demonic weapons to attack the old man in midair. Humph! The purple-robed old man snorted coldly. A jade ruler appeared in his hand. He swept it around his body in the air. A circle of demonic light spread out in all directions, stopping the 3 top-grade demonic weapons in midair. Good move! Ran Kai praised. The 3 top-grade demonic weapons all retreated 100 feet. Then, with an even fiercer aura than before, they attacked again. All of them could penetrate the demonic light, but their speed was obviously reduced by a little. Your Excellency is not bad either, the purple-robed old man replied. The jade ruler in his hand also shone brightly. However, he did not defend himself. Instead, he slapped it towards Ran Kai. In an instant, layers of ruler shadows fell vertically from the sky. Just as they were about to hit Ran Kai, they all gathered together. At this time, the 3 top-grade demonic weapons also reached the purple-robed old man's side. He stood in the same place without moving an inch. However, a demonic light flashed on his body, repelling all 3 top-grade demonic weapons. Ran Kai did not move either. When the ruler's shadows were about to reach him, he directly punched out, blasting the ruler's shadows into flowing light. The 2 of them exchanged blows. No one was able to gain the upper hand. If they continued to fight, it would be difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Seeing this, Xiaoling dared to act with confidence. This purple-robed old man was obviously related to their target. If Ran Kai could not restrain this old man, and he killed their target, then this old man would definitely not let him go. At that time, Ran Kai would not be in danger, and he would not have a good time. After waiting for Ran Kai and the purple-robed old man to fight for a while in the air, seeing that the 2 demon lords were still evenly matched, Xiaoling took advantage of the purple-robed old man's focus to slash at the colorful light shield with the silver moon broken blade. Bang! When the silver moon broken blade came into contact with the colorful light shield, an explosion was heard. Then, the light shield that had been attacked by the 3 top-grade demonic weapons for a long time broke. How dare you! The purple-robed old man roared in the air. He swung the jade ruler in his hand and slammed it in Xiaoling's direction. The ruler was still in the purple-robed old man's hand. The purple-robed old man did not move towards Xiaoling, but layers of ruler shadows fell on top of Xiaoling's head. Because the other party's realm was much higher than Xiaoling's, those ruler shadows could firmly lock onto Xiaoling. However, the purple-robed old man's opponent was Ran Kai. If he attacked Xiaoling, Ran Kai would seize the opportunity to attack him with his strongest move. Xiaoling did not dare to be like Ran Kai and directly smash those ruler shadows with his fist. Instead, with a thought, 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs flew out at the same time, forming a sacred sword of light that could restrain demonic cultivators and energy spells, and slashing those ruler shadows apart. At this time, Ran Kai's powerful attack had already penetrated the purple-robed old man's demonic light defense, and sent him flying far away. Xiaoling had already found his target, and the wings of extreme speed had already appeared behind him. His target was a middle-stage mystic demon cultivator. He looked very young and appeared to be a little panicked at this time. When Xiaoling came closer, the young cultivator and Xiaoling's body immediately shone with a bloody light at the same time. When Xiaoling was less than 3 feet away from his opponent, the silver moon broken blade in his hand had already shone with a chaotic demonic light. A black jade talisman suddenly appeared in the young cultivator's hand, and he directly threw it at Xiaoling. Not good. A top-grade demonic talisman. Feeling the energy fluctuations in the black jade talisman, Xiaoling's heart suddenly trembled, and he immediately dodged to the side. Only then did Xiaoling remember that although his opponent was only a middle-stage mystic demon, he was still related to a demon monarch expert. If he had a demonic talisman made by a demon monarch expert on him, he would be in a bit of danger. However, even if his opponent was only a middle-stage mystic demon, his realm was still higher than Xiaolingyu's. At this time, both sides were so close that it was impossible for Xiaolingyu to completely dodge the attack of the top-grade demonic talisman. Boom! Just as the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs' sacred light shield formed, the demonic talisman exploded. Xiaolingyu felt an incomparably powerful aura shock wave acting on his body, causing his body to fly backward like an arrow released from a bow. His entire body was in intense pain, and his abdomen was already badly mangled. Even the demon infant in his dantian was violently vomiting blood. Fortunately, the 4-colored halo above the Chaos Demon infant's head sped up at this time, stabilizing its injuries. Otherwise, Xiaolingyu would have died on the spot from the attack of the demonic talisman. The energy contained in the top-grade demonic talisman was definitely comparable to the all-out attack of an early-stage demon monarch expert. When Xiaolingyu was blown away by the demonic talisman, the fear on the young cultivator's face immediately dissipated, and a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It seemed that his expression just now was all an act to make his opponent look down on him and let his guard down. However, he did not expect that after being blasted by the top-grade demonic talisman at such a close distance, his opponent would be able to stabilize his body after flying a long distance away. It was just that his face was a little pale. It was completely different from what he imagined that his opponent would die on the spot. However, he did not panic, and the smile on the corner of his mouth did not disappear, because there was another top-grade demonic talisman in his hand. Xiaolingyu snorted coldly. He opened his arms and a torrential poisonous mist surged out. In an instant it had already enveloped the entire small mountain. Although this poisonous mist was not enough to directly kill the young cultivator, it could prevent him from using his demonic sense to lock onto Xiaolingyu. Moreover, the demonic mist would not affect Xiaolingyu's demonic sense. He aimed at the other party's position and endured his heavy injuries to throw out a palm strike. The sky full of palm shadows appeared in the poisonous mist. They wrapped around the poisonous mist and slapped towards the young cultivator. At this time, the young cultivator was a little flustered. Although he could not find the other party's position, he could not help but throw out the demonic talisman in his hand. Chapter 308. The young cultivator's body trembled. His soul and demon nascent soul were also heavily injured. They only managed to hold on for a short while before they were both shattered. Xiaolingyu quickly arrived in front of the young cultivator and absorbed all of his life essence before flying away with the poisonous mist. Although they had completed their mission, the purple-robed demon monarch was still around. Even if Xiaolingyu and Ran Kai worked together, they would not be able to kill or even injure the purple-robed demon monarch. It would not be easy for the two of them to leave the southern sea continent. Before the two of them came to the northern sea continent, they did not expect to meet a demon monarch expert. Bastard! I will burn your soul in demonic flames for 10,000 years and make you beg for death. The purple-robed elder roared furiously at Xiaolingyu. Then, his aura skyrocketed. Even his body was growing rapidly. In an instant, he had turned into a giant that could support the heavens. In an instant, Xiaolingyu and Ran Kai looked extremely small. Formless demon! Ran Kai exclaimed in shock as he looked at the 10,000 feet tall demonic body. Xiaolingyu did not know what kind of existence the formless demon was, but she could clearly feel that the purple-robed elder's aura was a level stronger than before. If the purple-robed elder was an early-stage demon monarch, then the purple-robed elder was now a mid-stage demon monarch. If the purple-robed elder could fight evenly with Ran Kai when he went all out, then the purple-robed elder could easily defeat Ran Kai. It was no wonder that Ran Kai was so shocked. The higher one's cultivation, the greater the difference between early-stage, mid-stage, and late-stage demon monarch. If the difference between early-stage earth demon and mid-stage earth demon was 1, Then the difference between early-stage Demon Monarch and mid-stage Demon Monarch was more than 100. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible to make up for such a huge difference. From the 10,000 feet tall demonic body, there was already a powerful aura that sealed the space within a few hundred miles. Even Ran Kai felt his shoulders become heavy and his aura gradually became chaotic. Before you die, I want to know why you want to kill my disciple. He has always been by my side. He shouldn't have offended the two of you, right? The Demon Monarch asked. Xiaolingyu and Ran Kai both looked gloomy. They were not in the mood to answer this question. No matter how he answered, he would not be able to appease the other party's anger. He might as well think of a way to escape before the other party made a move. That's right, I don't need to ask. Once I kill you all and extract your souls, it'll be easy for me to find out anything. The giant devil didn't dawdle and immediately slapped down. Before the slap arrived, a gust of wind had already gushed out from the palm of his huge hand. Even Ran Kai was unable to stabilize his body in that gust of wind. Ran Kai's 3 top-grade magic tools flew out at the same time. Against the gale, they swayed upwards, but before they could come into contact with the giant palm, they had already been sent flying. Brother Xiao, what are you waiting for? Ran Kai shouted as a reminder, and then threw out 3 more top-quality devil talismans. Xiaolingyu controlled the 6 devil-suppressing immortal orbs to transform into divine light swords and chase after the top-quality devil talisman. At the same time, he made a chaotic devil seal to attack. However, their efforts were in vain. Under the giant's seemingly casual palm, whether it was the top-quality devil talisman, divine light swords, or chaotic devil seal, they were all defeated. The giant palm still slapped down fiercely. No matter how Xiaolingyu and Xiaolingyu dodged, they were still enveloped by the giant palm. Boom! The giant palm slapped Xiaolingyu and Xiaolingyu onto the island, and the entire island sank into the sea. Xiaolingyu and Xiaolingyu almost used all their strength, but they were still unable to stop the palm from falling. From this, one could see the huge gap between the two of them and the giant devil. Being slapped into the sea at the same time, Xiaolingyu tried his best to stabilize his body and control the qi and blood in his body. However, Ran Kai slapped a paper-like devil talisman on himself. Then, with a flash of blue light, he turned into a ray of blue light and disappeared in an instant. With that devil talisman, Ran Kai's speed increased by a large margin. However, Ran Kai chose to escape at such a time. Moreover, he did not give Xiaolingyu any notice, nor did he have any intention of taking care of Xiaolingyu. Although it was very unrighteous, Xiaolingyu had expected it. After all, Ran Kai was a devil monarch expert. Even if he could not defeat the giant devil, he should be able to escape. Xiaolingyu was the one who killed the giant devil's disciple. The giant devil would definitely want to kill Xiaolingyu here, and might not chase after Ran Kai. Humph! Don't even think about escaping. The giant devil's thunderous voice rang out. The long hair on his head that fluttered in the wind all slithered out like black poisonous snakes and chased after Ran Kai at an even faster speed. Ran Kai found that the hair was getting closer and closer to him. Knowing that he could not escape, he shot out a few more top-quality devil talismans behind him. The explosion of the top-quality devil talismans only temporarily stopped the hair and helped Ran Kai to put some distance between them. However, when the hair recovered, it began to shorten the distance between them and Ran Kai. In his anxiety, Ran Kai slapped his forehead. A ball of blood essence the size of a fist came out of his mouth and dissolved into the blue light on his body. The blue light immediately became more vigorous, increasing Ran Kai's speed by a few notches. Even so, the blue light could only keep up with the hair. It was still unable to escape. However, after spitting out a few more balls of blood essence, Ran Kai shook off the hair and disappeared into the horizon. You lost so much blood essence. Even if you escape, it will be difficult for you to recover. You will not be able to make another breakthrough in your life. You are no different from a dead person. The giant devil did not chase after Ran Kai. After judging him, he glanced at Xiaolingyu. Xiaolingyu did not try to escape. After seeing the speed of the hare, he knew that he could not escape even if he wanted to. It was better to save his energy. You killed my disciple. How should I treat you? The giant devil said with a sinister expression. Xiaolingyu only stared at his opponent with a solemn expression. He did not open his mouth to speak. After experiencing countless dangers and life and death situations, he would not completely give up or break down until the last moment. You were seriously injured by my disciple's devil talisman. Your strength is not even at the Devil Lord level, yet you are still so calm. Do you have the ability to survive? The giant devil stared at Xiaolingyu as if he was very interested. However, his expression was full of disdain for Xiaolingyu's calmness. Xiaolingyu also knew that his calmness was of little use. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. However, being calm was better than not being calm. Can you tell me why there was a bloody light shining from you and my disciple at the same time? The giant devil asked again. Even if I tell you, you won't let me go. Xiaolingyu replied indifferently. I think that must be the key to why you came here to kill him. It's fine if you don't say anything. After I search your soul, I'll know everything. After saying this, the giant devil seemed to have lost his patience. His fluttering long hair swept towards Xiaolingyu. Xiaolingyu knew that he could not dodge, so he sent out a few chaotic devil seals to bombard the long hair. His struggle was futile. The long hair only stopped for a moment. Then, it directly wrapped around Xiaolingyu. Come here, the giant devil said with a sinister smile. Unfortunately, the giant devil's smile froze on his face. This was because the person who was originally bound by his long hair had broken free. His hair, which was not inferior to a top-grade devil artifact, was easily cut off by the other party. I didn't expect that you would have such a powerful Dharma treasure despite your low cultivation, the giant devil said in amazement. Xiaolingyu remained silent. The silver moon broken blade in his hand continued to shine with chaotic devil light. It was a matter of life and death. Xiaolingyu would not hide the divine artifact anymore. He wanted to use all his strength to survive this calamity. I lost a beloved disciple and obtained such a divine artifact. It's not too bad. The giant devil laughed sinisterly again. His giant palm slapped towards Xiaolingyu again. This palm was still as ferocious as ever. It sealed the surrounding space, making it impossible for Xiaolingyu to dodge. Xiaolingyu roared. The colorful firebird immediately flew out from the silver moon broken blade and rushed upwards against the force of the palm. The colorful firebird was Xiaolingyu's most powerful attack. Moreover, it was released by the divine artifact. Therefore, it was not repelled by the force of the giant palm. Instead, it hit the center of the demonic palm. The demonic palm that originally covered the sky immediately shrunk by half. Its force was also weakened by more than half. However, it still covered Xiaolingyu's head. However, after the giant was attacked by the colorful firebird of the silver moon broken blade, he was like a balloon that had been pierced by a needle. His entire body kept shrinking. Xiaolingyu gathered all the force in his body and remained motionless. When the demonic palm was about to hit him, he used all his strength to swing the silver moon broken blade and slashed at the giant palm. Since the giant devil could recognize that the silver moon broken blade was a divine artifact, he naturally would not take the attack of the divine artifact head-on. At this moment, his palm strangely shrunk to its normal size and he grabbed Xiaolingyu's wrist, causing the silver moon broken blade to miss. "Haha, this divine artifact belongs to me from now on." The purple-robed elder, who had almost returned to his original state, laughed heartily. However, it was too early for him to be happy. Just as he was about to pour his power into the other party's body to imprison him, he was shocked to find that his power could not invade the other party's body. There were only two possibilities for this situation. The first was that the other party was stronger than him. The second was that the other party's power was of a higher quality than his. The first possibility was obviously impossible. If the other party was stronger than him, he would not be restrained by him. Therefore, it could only be the second possibility. Just as the purple-robed elder was thinking, a silver needle appeared in Xiao Lingyu's other hand. The silver needle instantly pierced towards the back of the purple-robed elder's hand. Chapter 309. Xiao Lingyu's counterattack was also quick and fast. The purple-robed elder only had time to release his cultivation to defend himself. The purple-robed elder was confident that as long as his cultivation defense was not attacked by a divine artifact or an energy attack stronger than his, it would definitely not be broken. However, in the next moment, he felt a sharp pain coming from the back of his hand. The purple-robed elder cried out in pain and could not help but let go of Xiao Lingyu's wrist. However, he did not forget to kick Xiao Lingyu. Xiao Lingyu did not dare to take the flying kick of a demon lord-level expert head-on. He did not have time to retrieve the silver needle and directly dodge to the side. It's actually another divine artifact. The purple-robed elder retreated 100 feet and looked at the silver needle that was halfway into the back of his hand with a look of disbelief. Not good, my cultivation. After a while, the purple-robed elder was shocked to find that his cultivation was rapidly depleting. He was even more terrified. However, no matter how hard the purple-robed elder tried, he was unable to force the silver needle out of his body. His cultivation was still flowing away like a river. Quickly retrieve your divine artifact. The purple-robed elder shouted in panic. This silver needle is also useful against a demon lord. Fortunately, it's still useful. Xiao Lingyu secretly rejoiced in his heart before replying, "Retrieve the silver needle and let you continue to kill me?" After experiencing countless dangers and life and death situations, Xiao Lingyu became more and more calm and collected. If not for this advantage, he might not have been able to turn the situation around this time. Experts all cherished their lives. The stronger their cultivation, the longer they lived, the more so. This demon lord-level purple-robed elder was naturally no exception. Retrieve this silver needle, and I can promise to let you go. Otherwise, I still have enough strength to kill you, the purple-robed elder said coldly. I don't believe that you can kill me now. As long as you can't kill me within 100 breaths, you will die on the spot. Xiao Lingyu waved the silver moon broken blade in his hand and said confidently, "Then die with me." The purple-robed elder was furious. His long hair flew towards Xiao Lingyu again. Although Xiao Lingyu was heavily injured, he could still hold on for a while. He used the chaos energy to support the silver moon broken blade, and the wings of extreme speed carried him to move rapidly. The purple-robed old man was no longer in his giant demon form, so his long hair alone could not do anything to him. After all, the long hair was not a divine artifact, so it could only be cut off by the silver moon broken blade. Soul suppressor. The purple-robed old man suddenly pulled back his long hair and shouted. 2 beams of light immediately shot out from his eyes. No matter how Xiao Lingyu dodged, he was unable to avoid the 2 rays of light shooting into the space between his brows. Hum! Xiao Lingyu's sea of consciousness immediately rang like a giant bell, but the grayish-black metal piece in her sea of consciousness remained as stable as a boulder and did not move at all. In just a moment, the purple-robed old man's soul attack was absorbed by the grayish-black metal piece. Although the purple-robed old man was of the demon lord level, he was like Ran Kai. He could not use his demon consciousness to spy on Xiao Lingyu. Naturally, he did not know that Xiao Lingyu's sea of consciousness did not have a soul, nor did he know that Xiao Lingyu's soul was actually in the Chaos Demon Nascent Soul. Life Breaker. Seeing that his soul attack was ineffective, the purple-robed old man did not think too much about it. He immediately changed his spell. His other hand turned into a claw, and he grabbed at Xiao Lingyu across the void. The claw was very far away from Xiao Lingyu, but it instantly released a demonic light that enveloped his entire body. Then, the demonic light began to revolve around him, forming a huge suction force that acted on his entire body, causing his life essence to become chaotic. It was obvious that this spell was used on the enemy's life essence. It was used to extract the enemy's life essence and kill the enemy. However, just as Xiao Lingyu's life essence was about to go berserk, the demon lord's life imprint hidden in his flesh suddenly revealed itself, causing his entire body to shine with a bloody light. No matter how strong the suction force was, Xiao Lingyu's life essence began to gradually stabilize. When the purple-robed old man saw that this spell was ineffective, and that the remaining power in his body had been completely exhausted, even the demon nascent soul had begun to disperse, he realized the severity of the problem. He raised his jade ruler and chopped at his own arm. This was a heroic man cutting his own wrist. However, the purple-robed old man had underestimated the power of a divine artifact. Although his jade ruler had the power to chop off his wrist, the moment it touched his arm, the silver needle automatically activated its power, releasing a powerful divine power that repelled the jade ruler. Xiao Lingyu had long realized that once the silver needle pierced into a person's body, it would not stop until the person was dead. Unless an outsider helped pull it out, the person who was pierced was helpless. "Little brother, we have no enmity between us. Let's both take a step back. If you take back the silver needle, I swear that I will not make things difficult for you. I will also teach you a few powerful spells. How about it?" The purple-robed old man was burning with anxiety. He was on the verge of death, so he naturally could not continue to be stubborn. "Haha, no enmity between us. I just killed your disciple, and you even threatened to extract my soul and burn it in the demonic fire for 10,000 years. Xiao Lingyu sneered. "I can swear on my soul," the purple-robed old man said again. "Nothing is more straightforward than you dying." Xiao Lingyu was not the kind of person who liked to leave behind future troubles. "You." The purple-robed old man was in despair when he saw that neither soft nor hard tactics worked. His face gradually became ferocious, and the demonic light around his body began to explode. "You'd better not waste your power. You won't be able to self-destruct," Xiao Lingyu said calmly. The more the purple-robed old man stimulated his power, the faster his power dissipated. In just a few breaths, his demonic infant had completely collapsed, and his soul had also dissipated at this moment. A demon monarch had fallen with hatred just like that. After confirming that the purple-robed old man was completely dead, Xiao Lingyu stopped the corpse in midair and pulled out the silver needle. The silver needle did not change at all after absorbing almost all the power of a demon monarch expert. However, it had already saved Xiao Lingyu several times. Even if it was used to deal with Xiao Lingyu still wanted to keep it well. After putting away the purple-robed old man's storage magic treasure and the magic treasures in his body, Xiao Lingyu threw the body into the spirit beast pouch for the strange young beast to eat. After that, Xiao Lingyu casually found an island, carved a simple cave abode, and set up some restrictions. Then, she began to rummage through the purple-robed old man's storage magic treasure. After a few moments, a relaxed smile appeared on Xiao Lingyu's face. This demon monarch's storage magic treasure really did contain top-grade healing pills. After taking a top-grade healing pill, Xiao Lingyu began to concentrate and meditate with her eyes closed, nursing her severely injured body. While Xiao Lingyu was recuperating in seclusion, Ran Kai had already teleported away from the southern sea continent. He went to the Qishui continent, where there were no experts, and casually found a place to begin his seclusion. However, before he went into seclusion, Ran Kai took out his communication pearl and said in surprise, "That brat's soul imprint hasn't been destroyed. Could it be that he also escaped? No, it's possible that his soul was imprisoned." In order to escape, Ran Kai had expended a large amount of blood essence. The injuries he had suffered were definitely more severe than Xiaolingyu's, and more difficult to recover from. It seems that I can only hope to obtain all of the demon monarch's life essence. Otherwise, even if the demon monarch's soul consciousness is destroyed, it will be difficult for me to make any further progress. When he thought of this, the dispirited look on Ran Kai's face disappeared, and was replaced by a deep determination. Even with the help of top-grade healing pills, Xiaolingyu took a full 10 years to completely recover. However, he did not immediately come out of seclusion. In the spirit beast pouch, the strange young beast that had swallowed the purple-robed old man's body was originally in a deep sleep. However, when Xiaolingyu finished recuperating, it woke up. After waiting quietly for 2 months, the strange young beast finally began to hold its stomach and cry out in pain. Its entire body was also enveloped by the chaotic light. With previous experience, Xiaolingyu was not too worried. She only frowned and waited. Not long after, the strange young beast spat out a bead and took the initiative to present it to Xiaolingyu. Xiaolingyu did not stand on ceremony. He swallowed the bead and did not reject it from entering the chaotic nascent soul. He knew that this bead was very effective in protecting the chaotic nascent soul. With this bead's protection, the chaotic nascent soul would not be in too much danger if he was attacked by an early-stage demon monarch expert in the future. Having just swallowed the purple-robed old man's body, the strange young beast's aura fluctuation was comparable to that of a late-stage mystic demon. However, after spitting out the bead, it was only at the late-stage spirit demon realm. However, this realm was very stable. This fellow's speed of improvement is really too fast. If it directly swallowed the body of a demon monarch or a demon monarch, Xiaolingyu could not help but let his imagination run wild. After inviting the strange young beast back into the spirit beast pouch, Xiaolingyu still did not end his seclusion. Instead, he began to carefully examine the collection in the purple-robed old man's storage Dharma treasure. This demon monarch expert was not very rich. He only had a few thousand demonic crystals, some supreme-grade demonic treasures, and demonic pills. Xiaolingyu did not really need these at the moment. However, there were a large number of materials in the storage Dharma treasure and a few jade slips with high-level demonic techniques that Xiaolingyu was very interested. There's actually a coiling dragon pill. It seems to be supreme grade. I've struck it rich. Isn't this jade box containing the Bodhi fruit? The phaseless gigantic demon technique inscribed in this jade slip seems very powerful. I have to take a closer look. Xiaolingyu's expression was very interesting as he examined the purple-robed old man's storage Dharma treasure. Although he had almost lost his life this time, he had successfully killed a demon monarch with a little bit of luck and the other party's carelessness. The harvest was also very rich. No wonder there's a coiling dragon pill. It turns out that cultivating this phaseless gigantic demon technique requires a coiling dragon pill. After immersing his mind in the jade slip for a long time, Xiaolingyu suddenly came to a realization. Chapter 310. My current strength is not too far away from the initial stage of Devil Monarch. If I can cultivate this formless gigantic demon art, once I activate it, I won't have to fear the initial stage of Devil Monarch like Ran Kai. Thinking of this, Xiaolingyu dispelled the idea of coming out of seclusion. His mind was once again completely immersed in the jade slip. Xiaolingyu's current cultivation was still in the spirit demon stage, but if he went all out, he could display the strength not weaker than the late stage of Devil Monarch. The reason for this was not only because of the chaotic void refining stage itself, but also because he had many powerful spells and artifacts. More importantly, he benefited from his very strong body. To increase one's cultivation level, it was not something that could be done overnight. But even if one did not increase one's cultivation level, there were other ways to increase one's strength. Cultivating a powerful auxiliary cultivation method was one of them. Formless gigantic demon art was also an extremely brilliant auxiliary cultivation method. It was the same as soul-rending demon palm. After cultivating it, it would not increase the cultivator's cultivation or soul realm by much, but it could greatly increase the cultivator's attack power. And how much power it could exert on the cultivator's body depended on the cultivator's strength. Most auxiliary cultivation methods were the same. The stronger the cultivator's strength, the stronger the power of these auxiliary cultivation methods. Cultivating formless gigantic demon art required 3 basic conditions. First, the cultivator's body must be strong. Second, the cultivator's body must be able to expand. Third, the cultivator's body must have a very strong reserve of power. The first condition, Xiaolingyu already met. The second condition, Xiaolingyu could solve it with the miraculous effect of the coiling dragon pill. For Xiaolingyu, the biggest problem of cultivating formless gigantic demon art was the reserve of power. When using formless gigantic demon art, the body will expand many times. The cultivator's meridians will become thicker and can accommodate more energy. This will greatly increase the strength. But after the meridians expand, if there is no matching energy in the body to be mobilized, the strength will naturally not increase by much. Cultivators generally used their nascent souls and their bodies to store energy. However, under a certain realm, the amount of energy that could be stored in the nascent soul was limited. Once it reached saturation, it could no longer be injected with energy. Otherwise, the nascent soul would collapse. If it wasn't for the sake of breaking through to the next realm, cultivators would never dare to overload their nascent soul. Even Xiaolingyu's chaotic demonic nascent soul was the same. In order to successfully activate the phaseless gigantic demonic art, just increasing the amount of energy in one's body by a little was not enough. It needed to be at least 10 times more. To any cultivator, this was an extremely difficult problem to solve. Of course, since there was a cultivation method like the phaseless gigantic demon art, there must be a way to cultivate it. There must also be a way to store a large amount of power in a cultivator's body. This method was to compress and solidify the essence blood, condensing it into a blood crystal. The energy contained in a blood crystal of the same size was definitely more than 10 times that of liquid essence blood. Furthermore, after the essence blood was solidified, its energy would be more tightly restrained and would not leak out easily. There was no need for the cultivator to take care of it or suppress it. The blood crystal itself was also very sturdy. Even if the cultivator's body suffered a heavy blow, it would be able to withstand it. It would not allow the energy contained in it to leak out and cause the cultivator's body to explode. For an ordinary cultivator, it would only take a long time to condense the essence blood into a blood crystal. After all, the formation of the essence blood was not easy. To compress and solidify the essence blood was an extremely long process. However, this method might not be suitable for Xiaolingyu, who had cultivated the 9 revolutions chaos technique. The chaotic demonic energy was of a much higher level than the demonic spirit energy. Xiaolingyu had always relied on absorbing the energy in demonic stones to refine and convert it. This originally required a large amount of demonic stones to support it. Furthermore, the chaotic demonic energy contained in his essence blood was much purer. As such, if he wanted to solidify the essence blood, he would first have to compress and solidify the chaotic demonic energy. This was not a problem that could be solved with time. However, apart from this method of solidifying the essence blood, the jade slip did not mention any other methods. As such, Xiaolingyu was forced into a dead end. Solidifying the demonic spirit energy was not too difficult for cultivators who were at the early stage of the mystical demon realm and above. As long as they had enough demonic stones, they could do it. However, it was very difficult for Xiaolingyu to solidify the chaotic demonic energy. This was because not only did it require a large amount of demonic stones to support it, he also had to find a way to solidify the chaotic demonic energy himself. At this point, Xiaolingyu knew that he had to either give up on cultivating the phaseless gigantic demonic technique or have the ability to solidify the chaotic demonic energy first. After pondering for a full 3 days, Xiaolingyu still could not find a reliable method. However, while he was in a daze, he suddenly thought of something. His eyes could not help but light up as he invited the strange cub out. Whether it works or not, it all depends on you. Xiaolingyu stroked the strange cub's head and then injected his power and a ball of essence blood into the strange cub's mouth. The strange cub had never rejected these types of energy. Whether it was Xiaolingyu's or someone else's, it could swallow them all into its stomach and quickly digest them. However, before it digested them, Xiaolingyu gave it a few orders and reminded it of a few things to take note of. After 4 hours, the strange cub began to hug its stomach and cry out in pain again. Xiaolingyu waited anxiously for a while before the strange cub gradually calmed down. After it had completely recovered, it opened its mouth and spat out a bead the size of a grain of rice. The bead was dark red in color and its luster was restrained. It faintly emitted an aura of life and chaotic energy. "Haha! It's done." Xiaolingyu carefully observed the dark red bead. Then, he hugged the strange cub in his arms and kissed it fiercely with a look of ecstasy. The dark red bead was a blood crystal. The chaotic energy within it had already solidified. After the solidification, the quality of the blood essence and chaotic energy did not increase. However, the energy within it was very concentrated and rich. It was completely suitable for cultivating the phaseless gigantic demon technique. With this, all the problems were no longer a problem. Xiaolingyu's cultivation of the phaseless gigantic demon technique had officially begun. The quality of his body was already high enough. There was no need to deliberately improve it. He had no way to improve it at the moment, so there was no need to consider this. Xiaolingyu first swallowed the coiling dragon pill. Then, he closed his eyes and quietly digested the medicinal power of this supreme-grade pill. The coiling dragon pill melted as soon as it entered his mouth. The medicinal power turned into a stream of energy that was like a swimming dragon. After it entered his abdomen, it entered the meridians of his body. At this moment, Xiaolingyu's body was constantly shining with a strange light. A long illusory dragon circled around him. Not only could the coiling dragon pill increase the quality of a cultivator's body, it could also give the cultivator the bloodline of dragons. It could even give the cultivator the ability to transform into a dragon. The reason why the phaseless gigantic demon technique required the help of the coiling dragon pill was not because it could give the cultivator the ability to transform into a dragon. Instead, it was because of the bloodline of dragons. As everyone knew, any demonic beast that cultivated to a certain level could freely switch between their human form and their original form. However, human cultivators could not transform into demonic beasts. This coiling dragon pill allowed the cultivator's bloodline and physical body to transform into a dragon. If the medicinal power was sufficient, it could allow the cultivator to transform into a dragon. Even if the cultivator could not transform into a dragon, it could make the cultivator's body stronger and naturally, it could also expand. After expanding, it would not affect the quality of the body. This was the greatest help that the coiling dragon pill could provide to the cultivation of the phaseless gigantic demon technique. About 3 months later, the long illusory dragon around Xiaolingyu's body suddenly spun rapidly. The long illusory dragon gradually disappeared and was replaced by a strange cocoon of light that wrapped around Xiaolingyu. Within the cocoon of light, Xiaolingyu's intuition told him that a dragon's roar was constantly ringing in his ears, and the dragon-shaped medicinal strength within his body was constantly changing his flesh, blood, bones, and organs. There was even a portion of the medicinal strength that directly affected the chaos demon nascent and the golden soul bead, the itchy pain, as if thousands of ants were gnawing at his bones, came from all parts of his body. Xiaolingyu's face turned pale and his body trembled uncontrollably. The pain of the body and soul metamorphosis was something that Xiao Lingyu had never experienced before. It was also the most unbearable for him. Fortunately, Xiao Lingyu was experienced in this. Moreover, he had reached the chaotic void refinement stage and could still endure it. However, what surprised Xiao Lingyu was that as the medicinal effects caused the final wave of changes in his body, scales actually appeared on both of his arms, and horns protruded from his forehead. Could it be that I can transform into a dragon? Xiao Lingyu was surprised and delighted. If he could really transform into a dragon, his formless gigantic demon technique would be activated in the form of a dragon. At that time, his strength would increase even more. However, what made him depressed was that when his arms had completely transformed into dragon claws and the horns on his forehead were less than 3 inches long, the medicinal power of the supreme-grade coiling dragon pill had already dissipated, and the dragon transformation was forced to stop. A human body, dragon claws, and even a small dragon horn. Xiao Lingyu looked at himself and couldn't help but smile bitterly. He was really neither fish nor fowl. Less than 10 breaths after the dragon transformation stopped, Xiao Lingyu's body returned to its original state. The dragon claws and dragon horns disappeared. With just a thought, the dragon claws and dragon horns appeared again. With another thought, they disappeared at the same time. Fortunately, I can freely transform. The quality of my body seems to have reached the level of a supreme-grade demonic weapon. The quality of these dragon claws seems to be even higher. Xiao Lingyu looked satisfied. He took out another supreme-grade demonic weapon from the demon lord and slapped it with his dragon claws. Chapter 3:11. Although he couldn't completely transform into a dragon, Xiao Lingyu was still very satisfied with the medicinal effects of the coiling dragon pill. In the following 30 years, Xiao Lingyu still didn't leave this simple cave dwelling. Instead, he continuously spat out balls of blood essence for the strange young beast to help him condense blood crystals. However, every time he spat out a ball of blood essence, Xiao Lingyu would need some time to recuperate and replenish before he could spit out another ball of blood essence. After all, a large portion of a cultivator's life essence and cultivation power were stored in their blood essence. No cultivator would dare to use too much blood essence in a short period of time. Xiao Lingyu was the same. If he didn't receive any nourishment, he wouldn't dare to continuously use his blood essence. Otherwise, he wouldn't have wasted 30 years. After 30 years, Xiao Lingyu had only condensed a dozen or so blood crystals. After storing these blood crystals into his body, Xiao Lingyu stood up and walked out of the secret room. Then, he aimed at the transportation formation of the southern sea continent and flew at full speed. I don't know where Ran Kai escaped to. He used so much blood essence in such a short period of time. He'll probably need a long time to recuperate. What should I do? Xiao Lingyu was very hesitant as he waited for the transportation formation. He felt a little lost and didn't know what to do. I should first search through the continents near the Blood Moon continent. After all, Zhu Jin and the others' route has already been arranged. It won't be too late to chase after them after some time. After making up his mind, Xiao Lingyu entered the transportation formation. Xiao Lingyu and Ran Kai had already been to the Crimson Water continent and the Northern Sea continent. Naturally, he wouldn't go to these two continents. Instead, he teleported to other continents. However, what made Xiao Lingyu depressed was that his cultivation was still too low. After searching through 7 continents, he only found one target. For Xiao Lingyu to find a target, it was natural that the target's cultivation was lower than his. Even the mysterious Devil Stage cultivators, who were much higher than him, were not his match. Cultivators who were lower than him were simply powerless in front of him. It would be great if Ran Kai was here. With his early Devil Lord realm, he should be able to find a lot more. Moreover, what he can find just happens to be what we can deal with. It would be difficult for the two of us to deal with those with a higher realm than him. Xiao Lingyu suddenly thought of Ran Kai's benefit. Right now, Ran Kai was nowhere to be found, and Xiao Lingyu's communication pearl was unable to send messages across star fields. It was almost impossible to find Ran Kai again. It would be very difficult for Xiao Lingyu to find the target alone. But even so, Xiao Lingyu still had to continue. After a few turns, he arrived at a continent of the Devil Realm called the Luhong Continent. In the sky of Luhong Continent, numerous rays of light could frequently be seen tearing through the horizon like shooting stars chasing after the moon, and they flashed before vanishing. Sometimes, one could even see large expanses of flowing clouds that were like surging rivers, and they flickered with dazzling rays of light as they surged over. The area of the Luhong continent was slightly smaller than the Northern Sea continent, and the overall strength of the cultivators was not much worse than the Northern Sea continent. After Xiao Lingyu arrived at the Luhong continent, he first sensed for a while. He did not expect that he would actually sense two targets. Moreover, the distance between the two targets seemed to be shrinking. After sensing carefully, he realized that one of the targets was actually approaching the other. Since it was a target that he could sense, its strength was definitely far inferior to his. Therefore, Xiao Lingyu had nothing to worry about and directly flew over. In just 2 days, Xiao Lingyu was already less than 5,000 kilometers away from the target. The target that he was rapidly approaching was the one that had not changed its position all this time, and the other target was only 5,000 kilometers away. The other target was originally much further away from here than the teleportation formation that Xiao Lingyu was at before, but the two had arrived at the same time. It was clear that the other target was moving faster than Xiao Lingyu. How can it be so fast? Xiao Lingyu was a little surprised. With Xiao Lingyu's current speed, it was likely that only cultivators above the middle mystic demon stage could surpass him. Yet, Xiao Lingyu could sense the other party, which proved that the other party's realm was definitely inferior to Xiao Lingyu's. How could he not be suspicious? It was also because of this suspicion that Xiao Lingyu did not directly attack the target's location. Instead, he completely concealed his aura and quietly advanced. After nearly 2 hours, Xiao Lingyu finally arrived in front of a mountain range and saw a majestic mountain gate. 1000 Rainbow Sect. Looking at the 3 flamboyant characters engraved on the mountain gate from afar, Xiao Lingyu frowned. His target was actually a Devil Sect disciple. At this time, the other target was not far from here, so Xiao Lingyu casually found a mountain peak near the 1000 Rainbow Sect's encampment and stood there, observing with his mind. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the other target, who had also slowed down, also arrived in front of the 1000 Rainbow Sect's mountain gate. So there's an expert helping them. No wonder they're so fast. Seeing the two people not far from the 1000 Rainbow Sect, Xiao Lingyu revealed a relieved smile. He used his mind to spy on the two people. One of them was at the late Mystic Demon stage, while the other was only at the late True Demon stage. The late True Demon stage cultivator was the target that Xiao Lingyu could sense. The two people only stood in front of the 1000 Rainbow Sect's gate for a moment, then directly walked over and were stopped by 2000 Rainbow Sect's guards. Although the two guards were very polite, the late Mystic Demon stage expert waved his hand and shot out 2 rays of black light, ending the lives of the 2 Devil King stage guards. Killing without blinking an eye, and killing without looking for a reason, was a description of such a person. The two people directly entered the 1000 Rainbow Sect's encampment. Then, the late Mystic Demon stage expert killed everyone he saw. None of his subordinates were a match for him. This 1000 Rainbow Sect was at most equivalent to a second-rate sect in the Blood Moon continent. Naturally, it was difficult for them to withstand the attack of a late-stage Profound Demon Realm expert. Although a Profound Demon Realm expert was dispatched in the end, that Profound Demon Realm expert was only at the middle stage of the Profound Demon Realm. In just a single exchange, he was heavily injured and lost his life. With the death of the 1000 Rainbow Sect's strongest expert, the other 1000 Rainbow Sect disciples could only stretch out their necks to be slaughtered. This was a completely one-sided massacre. In the devil world, such massacres were common. The weak had no protection at all. Whoever was stronger had the right to kill. Even someone like Xiaolingyu, who wasn't a very vicious person, could now casually kill people, let alone those devil Dao cultivators who were originally very cruel. From the time the two people entered the Thousand Rainbow sect to the time when only one person was left alive, less than the time it took to brew a cup of tea had passed. The only person left alive was also Xiaolingyu's target. He was only at the late True Demon stage. The late True Demon stage expert who came with the late Mystic Demon stage expert didn't absorb the other party's life essence. Instead, the late Mystic Demon stage expert began to search the Thousand Rainbow sect disciples' soul. It seems that they also haven't figured it out. Xiaolingyu stroked his chin and pondered. After the late Mystic Demon stage expert searched the soul, he didn't seem to get the answer he wanted. After a slight hesitation, he waved his hand and slapped. "Wait!" Xiaolingyu immediately shouted. His voice contained his power, causing the mountains to tremble. The late Mystic Demon stage expert immediately stopped and pulled the late True Demon stage expert back a step. He stared at Xiaolingyu with great vigilance. When a late Mystic Demon stage expert attacked a late True Demon stage expert, it was absolutely a one-hit kill. Moreover, it could directly make the other party vanish into thin air. This wasn't something Xiaolingyu wanted to see. In 2 flashes, Xiaolingyu appeared in the depths of the Thousand Rainbow sect's encampment and slowly walked towards the 3 people opposite him. "Fellow Taoist, what advice do you have?" the late Mystic Demon stage expert asked with narrowed eyes. "It can't be considered advice. I just feel that fellow Taoist is truly awe-inspiring and decisive in slaughtering people in all directions and annihilating their entire sect." Xiaolingyu praised. The reason why he said this was to make it difficult for the other party to understand his intentions. Could it be that fellow Taoist is related to the Thousand Rainbow sect? The late Mystic Demon stage expert asked again. "Not at all, but could I have a discussion with fellow Taoist?" Xiaolingyu shook his head and said, "What discussion?" Because the late Mystic Demon stage expert couldn't see through Xiaolingyu's strength with his devil sense, he could only reply with words and didn't dare to attack. "Could you leave this person to me?" Xiaolingyu pointed at the remaining Thousand Rainbow sect disciple and asked. The late Mystic Demon stage expert hesitated for a moment. After weighing the pros and cons, he nodded and said, "I'll give fellow Taoist face." The late Mystic Demon stage expert absolutely wouldn't be so rash to fight with a cultivator whose strength he didn't know, for the sake of a useless person. "There's also that person beside you. I also want to leave him behind. I wonder if fellow Taoist can make it convenient?" Xiaolingyu pointed at the person beside the late Mystic Demon stage expert and said, "Is fellow Taoist playing with me?" The late Mystic Demon stage expert said with slight anger. "Hee, I'm not playing with you. It's just a discussion. If fellow Taoist doesn't agree, of course I don't agree. He's my son. How can I leave him behind just because you say so?" The late Mystic Demon stage expert agitatedly cut off Xiaolingyu's words. "If fellow Taoist doesn't agree." Before Xiaolingyu could finish speaking, he suddenly took a step forward and slapped out with his palm. Palm shadows that filled the sky immediately appeared. Like ghosts that filled the sky, they all pounced on the late Mystic Demon stage expert. Xiaolingyu's sudden attack caught the late Mystic Demon stage expert, who was still hesitating in his heart, somewhat off guard. He had been vigilant all along. The moment Xiaolingyu attacked, he waved his arm and flung his son far away. At the same time, a thick defensive light barrier appeared around his body. However, what the late Mystic Demon stage expert didn't expect was that the palm shadows that filled the sky seemed illusory, but actually possessed extremely strong offensive power. His defensive light barrier only lasted for less than a breath's time before it was broken. Without giving him any time to catch his breath, the other party once again slapped out countless palm shadows in his direction. Chapter 312. The black light was transformed from a top-grade demonic sword. In an instant, it arrived in front of Xiaolingyu. Xiaolingyu's expression didn't change in the slightest. A demon-suppressing immortal pearl flew out of his mouth and directly knocked the demonic sword far away. At the same time, the palm images that filled the sky slammed into the battle armor of the late profound demon expert. Although they failed to shatter the battle armor, a powerful force penetrated the battle armor and his body, directly affecting his soul and demonic nascent soul. Puff! The late-stage profound demon cultivator didn't expect that the demonic infant shattering palm could penetrate his top-grade demonic armor. After a round of bombardment, his soul was severely injured, and his demonic infant showed signs of collapse. He couldn't help but spit out a few mouthfuls of blood. At this time, he realized the terrifying strength of the person who had come. The other party was actually able to easily suppress him. Whether it was his offensive or defensive methods, they were not worth mentioning in front of the other party. Knowing the danger he was in, he took out a jade slip and crushed it while he was still alive. Just as he crushed the jade slip, the other party had already launched another attack. His demonic infant and soul couldn't hold on any longer and directly dissipated. His body also weakly fell to the ground. "You actually killed my father. I'll fight you to the death." The late-stage true demon cultivator, who had been watching from outside the battlefield, immediately rushed over with a demonic sword when he saw his father die on the spot. Xiaolingyu, however, didn't move. When the other party came over, he leaned to the side and grabbed the other party's shoulder, imprisoning him with his primal chaos demonic power. "Your father can annihilate the entire sect, but can't I kill him? You should know that those who kill will be killed by others." After Xiaolingyu indifferently replied, the primal chaos demonic power, he poured into the other party's body, wrapped around the other party's life essence, and returned to his own body. "Senior, thank you for saving my life. Thank you for avenging my Thousand Rainbow sect." The remaining cultivator of the Thousand Rainbow sect hurriedly cupped his fists and thanked him. "Don't thank me first. I'm not here to avenge you, nor to save you. In fact, I'm here to kill you." Xiaolingyu shook his head and said, "Ah." When the cultivator heard this, he was stunned at first. Then he said, "My Thousand Rainbow sect has already been destroyed. There's no point in me living alone. Even if Senior doesn't want to avenge us, our enemies were killed by Senior. I don't have anything to repay Senior. I only have this life. If Senior wants it, take it." "Hee, it's good that you think this way." Xiaolingyu smiled and nodded. Then, he placed his hand on the other party's shoulder and drew out the life essence from his body. Although the cultivator was very good at talking, Xiaolingyu did not have any intention of being lenient. In this devil world, talking was not enough. After incinerating the corpses in the surroundings, he flew up again and headed towards the teleportation array of the Luhong continent. Xiaolingyu had also seen the scene of that late-stage mystic demon expert crushing the jade strip. He knew that the jade strip would definitely be able to summon experts, so he didn't dare to stay any longer. He only wanted to leave the Luhong mainland as soon as possible. But what he didn't expect was that before he even reached the teleportation array, he had already discovered that someone was chasing after him. The speed of the approaching person was extremely fast. Not to mention Xiaolingyu, even the early-stage Devil Monarch Ran Kai was much faster. He was constantly closing the distance between him and Xiaolingyu. After another 100 breaths of time, the approaching person was already less than 100 feet away from Xiaolingyu. "Thief, you want to leave after killing someone?" the approaching person shouted. The approaching person's voice was mixed with fluctuations of cultivation power. It actually caused the space to tremble slightly. It could be seen that this person's strength was tyrannical. Xiaolingyu was not in the mood to answer this meaningless question. He only secretly cursed his bad luck. He actually encountered another devil monarch expert, and this devil monarch was most likely not at the early stage. But even if Xiao Lingyu did not answer, the other party was still chasing with all his strength. The short distance of 100 feet was crossed in just a breath's time, blocking Xiao Lingyu's path. Xiao Lingyu still did not stop. He had already held the silver moon broken blade in his hand. With a wave, a colorful firebird pounced out after a phoenix cry. The colorful firebird's body was not very large, but its body carried a mighty and unparalleled power. Wherever it passed, the space would fluctuate. Even if the other party was a devil monarch expert, he did not dare to underestimate the divine power of this divine weapon and immediately dodged. In terms of cultivation level, Xiao Lingyu was naturally unable to lock onto his opponent's attack. The firebird rushed forward for a long distance before automatically dissipating. Xiao Lingyu continued to move forward. After being stunned for a moment, the other party sped up and chased after him. "Scoundrel, this old man will not rest until you're dead." The angry roar of the devil monarch expert came from not far behind him. Xiao Lingyu only frowned and ignored it. He could guess that the two people he had just killed must have a deep relationship with this devil monarch. Not long after, the devil monarch blocked in front of Xiao Lingyu again. However, he was still scared away by the firebird that Xiao Lingyu slashed out with the silver moon broken blade. Before reaching the primal chaos void refinement stage, Xiao Lingyu's cultivation was only enough to slash out a colorful firebird. However, after reaching the primal chaos void refinement stage, there were more than 10 blood crystals in his body. He could almost slash out a colorful firebird without running out of energy. "Thief, let's see how long you can run." The person who came chased after him relentlessly and constantly cursed. Occasionally, the person who came would attack from behind, but Xiao Lingyu could block it with the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs. Although Xiao Lingyu wouldn't be able to hold on for too long, the towering figure of the Golden Rainbow City had already appeared not far away. That's right, Xiao Lingyu was preparing to escape into Lu Rainbow City. Under the situation of being chased, it was impossible for him to use the teleportation array to leave. Even if he could enter the teleportation array, as long as the other party kept shaking the teleportation array, he would not be able to activate the teleportation array to leave. Lu Rainbow City was the largest city in the Lu Rainbow continent. It also had a rule that prohibited fighting. Even if the other party was the devil monarch, he would not dare to easily violate the rules set by the big shots of the devil realm or the top aristocratic families. If the other party dared to make a move in Lu Rainbow City and the experts guarding the city did not stop him, it would not be too late for Xiao Lingyu to escape. When he flew to the entrance of Lu Rainbow City, Xiao Lingyu released a powerful aura, causing the cultivators who were waiting in line to suddenly change their expressions and retreat one after another. Xiao Lingyu, on the other hand, landed at the entrance and directly tossed a high-grade magic stone to the guard. Then, he slowly walked into Luhong City. The devil monarch originally wanted to attack when Xiao Lingyu landed, but his attack would definitely destroy the city gate. Moreover, it was very likely that he would injure the city guards, so he hesitated for a moment. It was also while he was hesitating that the target he was chasing had already entered the city, causing him to be extremely angry. The devil monarch landed at the entrance of the city and asked the guard, "Is the city lord in the city?" The guard was stunned for a moment, and after sensing the aura of the person who had arrived, he respectfully said, "Senior, how would this lowly one know the whereabouts of the city lord?" However, this lowly one knows that the Lord Commander is in the city right now. Hearing this, the devil monarch frowned slightly, and then he did not pay the entrance fee and directly swaggered into the city. The guards on both sides of the city gate naturally did not dare to obstruct him, but one of them took out a communication pearl and sent a message. Although the devil monarch did not dare to make a move in the city, he dared to spread out his devil sense. Because it was very rare to see a devil monarch in the city, His devil sense was naturally very difficult to be discovered. After releasing his devil sense, he found Xiao Lingyu, who had not gone too far, and then he quickly followed after her. The devil monarch only followed Xiao Lingyu and did not make a move, because from the chase and escape just now, he could see that Xiao Lingyu's strength was not weak, and he did not have the confidence to kill her in a single strike, so he could not make a move. In this city, if he could not kill her in a single strike, and if they got tangled up in a fight, the city guards would definitely come to stop them. Even though he did not fear the city guards, he still found it troublesome. The two of them walked like this for the time it took to brew a cup of tea, and then a cultivator who seemed to be middle-aged suddenly blocked the devil monarch's path. "Haha, Brother Tao, how do you have the time to wander around Lu Rainbow City?" The middle-aged cultivator laughed loudly as he greeted. "What? Does Lu Rainbow City belong to your family? If others can come, why can't I?" The devil monarch, who was chasing Xiao Lingyu, coldly replied. It was very obvious that the two of them knew each other, but their relationship was probably not very good. It's not that Brother Tao can't come, it's just that Brother Tao's pottery manor has such beautiful scenery, and Brother Tao has raised so many beautiful women at home, and there are also many juniors serving you. Wouldn't it be a waste of time to come to Lu Rainbow City? The middle-aged cultivator still had a smile on his face. "I don't have time to chat with you today." As Devil Monarch Tao spoke, he took a detour, wanting to continue chasing after Xiao Lingyu. The middle-aged cultivator blocked Devil Monarch Tao's path again, and said with great sincerity, "Brother Tao, the two of us can be considered to have a bit of friendship. Since Brother Tao has come, how about I show you some hospitality and treat Brother Tao to a few drinks?" "No need." Devil Monarch Tao still did not give him face and took a detour again. The middle-aged cultivator did not block him again, and only calmly said from behind, "Brother Tao, it's fine if you have something to do. However, I have to remind Brother Tao that this is Lu Rainbow City, and the City Lord is in the City Lord's mansion. If Brother Tao causes any trouble here, I'm afraid it will make things difficult for us old friends." Devil Monarch Tao's expression slightly changed, but he did not turn around and only said, "Don't worry, even if I don't give you face, I will still give face to the City Lord." The middle-aged cultivator looked at Devil Monarch Tao's back and coldly snorted, "You better behave yourself, or you and your pottery manor will be removed from the Lu Rainbow continent." Although Xiao Lingyu had been walking at a fast pace in front, he had clearly heard the conversation between the two. After confirming that Devil Monarch Tao was somewhat apprehensive, he naturally became more relaxed. After about 6 hours, Xiao Lingyu finally arrived at the center of Lu Rainbow City and saw the City Lord's mansion. Originally, he was prepared to go to a restaurant beside the City Lord's mansion, but after seeing the Bounty Hunter branch building opposite the City Lord's mansion, he changed his mind and directly walked into the Bounty Hunter branch building in Lu Rainbow City. Chapter 313. After walking around the hall on the first floor of the Bounty Hunter branch, Xiao Lingyu arrived in front of the counter. "Is there anything I can help you with?" The beautiful female cultivator behind the counter politely asked Xiao Lingyu. "I want to issue a mission," Xiao Lingyu calmly replied. "What mission?" "Let me record it for you," the female cultivator asked again. "I'm currently being chased by a demon monarch. I want to ask the Bounty Hunter branch to dispatch an expert to help me block that demon monarch. As long as I can leave the Luhong continent through the transportation formation, the mission will be considered complete," Xiao Lingyu said in a deep voice after thinking for a moment. "Demon monarch?" The female cultivator seemed a little surprised. "Yes, the demon monarch. Can't you issue this mission?" Xiao Lingyu nodded and asked. "You can issue it, but—" The female cultivator clearly hadn't recovered from her shock. "But what?" Xiao Lingyu asked again. "But there may not be anyone who dares to accept this mission. Currently, I haven't heard of any senior hunters coming to the Luhong continent. I'm afraid it will be very difficult for anyone to accept your mission in a short period of time, the female cultivator said with a troubled expression. This mission doesn't have a time limit. I can wait in Luhong City for a while longer, Xiaoling said with a smile. In that case, I can issue this mission for you. However, to invite a senior hunter branch bounty hunter to take action, you will need at least 1,000 demonic crystals as a reward. There are 1,500 demonic crystals here. That should be enough, right? Before the female cultivator could finish speaking, Xiaoling had already thrown a storage pouch onto the counter. The female cultivator carefully held the storage pouch in her hand and used her demonic sense to examine it. She nodded and said, "Your mission will appear on the wall in a moment. Please wait a moment." Then, the female cultivator took out a jade tablet and placed it on the counter, saying, "Please leave a strand of your soul imprint here. If a senior hunter accepts the mission, your soul imprint will be transferred to his communication magic treasure. At that time, he will be able to contact you and help you safely leave the Luhong continent." Xiaoling nodded and sent a strand of her soul imprint into the jade token. Then, she left the counter and waited quietly in the hall. Not long after, Xiaoling saw her mission appear on the left wall. She was very satisfied when she saw the bounty hunters in the hall pointing at her mission. Demon Monarch Tao had also seen the mission, so his face was ashen. He had never expected his opponent to come up with such a plan. In the eyes of Demon Lord Tao, this was a bad plan, but to Xiaoling, who did not want to waste blood crystals, this was definitely the best choice. After smiling at Demon Lord Tao, Xiaoling walked out of the bounty hunter branch and headed towards the restaurant beside the city lord's mansion. Generally speaking, the largest restaurant next to the city lord's mansion was the property of the city lord's mansion. It was absolutely safe to eat and drink there. As for the price of the restaurant, Xiaoling did not care at all. In any case, the devil stones on her were stolen from others. When he arrived at the restaurant, Xiaoling didn't choose a private room. Instead, he casually found a seat in the hall on the first floor and sat down. He ordered a few dishes that weren't too cheap or too expensive and leisurely enjoyed himself. Although Demon Lord Tao was infuriated, he could only suppress the anger in his heart. He also found a seat and ordered some dishes. After eating and drinking, Xiaoling went to the tea house. After that, she went to a few material stores to purchase materials that could help her transform her body. In short, Xiaoling wandered around in crowded places and did not stray too far from the city lord's mansion. Furthermore, she was always on guard, not giving Demon Lord Tao any chance to kill her. What Xiaoling did not expect was that her communication pearl had already started vibrating after she had wandered around the city for less than a day. She sank her consciousness into it to take a look. Someone had indeed accepted her mission. In order to restrain a Demon Lord expert, the bounty hunter who accepted the mission had to be at least at the early stage of the Demon Lord realm. Once one's strength reached the Demon Lord realm, they would be considered a hunting king in the ranking of the bounty hunter organization. It was rare to see a hunting king in the ordinary demon realm continent. Therefore, Xiaoling was very happy that someone had accepted her mission so early. After all, 1,500 devil crystals should not be considered a generous reward for a hunting king. After replying to the message, Xiaoling walked toward the bounty hunter branch. Demon Lord Tao naturally followed closely behind her. When she reached the hall on the first floor of the branch, Xiaoling sent another message, explaining her location and characteristics. Not long after, a middle-aged cultivator walked over. "You are the employer, right?" the middle-aged cultivator asked Xiaoling. "That's right." Xiaoling nodded. "Please exchange the code word," the middle-aged cultivator said again. "The fragrance of falling flowers, the flowing water traceless," Xiaoling replied. "That's right. When do you plan to leave the Luhong continent?" the middle-aged cultivator asked again. "The sooner the better," Xiaoling replied. "Then let's do it now." The middle-aged cultivator seemed to be a straightforward person. He immediately led Xiaoling toward the city gate. Just as they reached the edge of the plaza in front of the city lord's mansion, Demon Lord Tao suddenly blocked Xiao Lingyu and Xiao Lingyu's path. He said to the middle-aged cultivator angrily, "You want to protect her and leave the Luhong continent? Brother Tao, I'm a bounty hunter. Can't I accept a mission?" The middle-aged cultivator asked with a smile. Xiao Lingyu recognized this middle-aged cultivator at first glance. When she had just entered the city, this person had blocked Demon Lord Tao. Of all the missions you could have accepted, you just had to accept this one. Are you deliberately making things difficult for me? Demon Lord Tao asked angrily. Brother Tao, I don't need you to care about what mission I accept, right? You also know that even a hunting king has to complete a mission every once in a while. I'm in charge of Luhong City's city guards and am usually very busy. I don't have the time to leave the city to do missions. Now that there's such a simple mission for me to use to make up the numbers, why wouldn't I accept it? The middle-aged cultivator said with a cold smile. It turned out that this middle-aged cultivator was the city guard commander of Luhong City, an expert who had reached the Demon Lord realm. Do you know that this person killed my nephew and grandson? Demon Lord Tao asked with a glare. I'm only in charge of accepting missions. As for what the employer has done in the past, it has nothing to do with me, the middle-aged cultivator replied indifferently. Humph. Since that's the case, let's leave the city and see who's the real deal. Demon Lord Tao said hatefully. Hee, the last time I sparred with Brother Tao should have been 30,000 years ago. I wonder if Brother Tao is still as powerful as before after 30,000 years. Today I'll have a taste of it. The middle-aged cultivator laughed fearlessly. You! The corner of Demon Lord Tao's mouth twitched a few times. Then, with a flick of his long sleeve, he strode toward the city gate without any intention of wasting his breath. After leaving the city, Xiao Lingyu and Demon Lord Tao discovered that Demon Lord Tao was already standing in the air above the teleportation array with a grave and stern expression. Sir, please wait for the teleportation. If an accident happens, I'll help you, the middle-aged cultivator said to Xiao Lingyu. Xiao Lingyu didn't say much. After nodding, she slowly walked to the side of the teleportation array and waited for the teleportation with many other cultivators. At this time, almost all the cultivators at the teleportation array square were staring at Demon Lord Tao in the air above the teleportation array, not understanding what was going on. Many of the cultivators who weren't in a hurry to leave could feel that there was something wrong with the aura fluctuations on Demon Lord Tao's body. They could guess that an accident might happen in a while, so these cultivators didn't continue waiting for the teleportation array. Instead, they hurriedly left the group and walked to the city gate. Originally, they needed to wait for 2 hours, but because many cultivators had already left, only 15 minutes passed before it was Xiao Lingyu's turn to be teleported. Naturally, Demon Lord Tao wouldn't give Xiao Lingyu the chance to teleport away. He immediately shook the teleportation array, causing it to temporarily lose its effect. Then, he suddenly descended and slapped his palm at Xiao Lingyu. Xiao Lingyu's expression remained unchanged. She didn't even try to dodge. Instead, she waved her hand and sent a chaotic demonic seal into the sky. The chaotic demonic seal completely dispersed the opponent's palm wind. However, when it exploded, it also shook the mountains and the earth. Before Demon Lord Tao could attack again, the middle-aged cultivator had already leaped into the air. He held a black spear and stabbed it at Demon Lord Tao. Disciple of the Tao family, what are you waiting for? And this thief! Demon Lord Tao shouted. Then, a pair of iron hooks appeared in his hands and blocked the middle-aged cultivator's spear. Just as Demon Lord Tao shouted, several mystic demon cultivators surrounded Xiao Lingyu. Look, the Grand Commander is making a move! Brothers, the Grand Commander is definitely going to kill the enemies of Lu Rainbow City. Everyone attack together. Without the middle-aged cultivator's command, the city guard experts who had rushed over after hearing the news all rushed forward. It wasn't that these city guard experts didn't know what was going on, but that they wanted to show off in front of their Grand Commander. You actually mobilized the city guards for your own mission, Demon Lord Tao said angrily after forcing the middle-aged cultivator to retreat. I didn't ask them to help. They did it willingly, the middle-aged cultivator replied with a smile. You've gone too far. Demon Lord Tao and the middle-aged cultivator started fighting again. On the other side, a large number of city guard experts rushed over. The Tao family disciples were unable to deal with them and could only retreat as they fought. Soon, they were slaughtered out of the teleportation array plaza. Xiaolingyu didn't make a move. He waited for the city guards and Tao family experts to retreat before walking towards the teleportation array. However, just as he reached the teleportation array's entrance, Demon Lord Tao took the middle-aged cultivator's attack head-on and shot a black beam of light at Xiaolingyu. Although Xiaolingyu didn't sense any powerful energy fluctuations from the black beam of light, he still dodged to the side. However, his cultivation realm was inferior to Demon Lord Tao's. Demon Lord Tao could lock onto his attacks and his dodging was useless. Sensing that the black beam of light was still chasing after him, Xiaolingyu suddenly stopped and threw out the chaotic demonic seal that he had formed. Chapter 3:14. Not good! Xiaolingyu cried out in alarm. However, in the next moment, he discovered that the black light had only disappeared from his body in an instant and did not cause him any harm. After a careful examination, Xiaolingyu did not find any abnormalities with his body, which made him even more suspicious. Demon Monarch Tao had taken the middle-aged cultivator's attack head-on and released a black stream of light. How could it not have any offensive power? He definitely didn't do this to scare me. There must be something wrong with that black stream of light. However, it's best to leave the Luhong mainland as soon as possible. As long as I teleport once, Demon Monarch Tao will not be able to find me again. Thinking up to this point, Xiaolingyu stepped into the teleportation array. As for Demon Monarch Tao, who had just taken the middle-aged cultivator's attack head-on, it was impossible for him to activate the teleportation array at this juncture. First, there was a flash of white light, followed by a rumble. After the teleportation array trembled slightly, Xiaolingyu disappeared from the teleportation array. Haha, the mission is complete. I won't spar with Brother Tao. If Brother Tao has the time, you can come to the city to have some tea with me. When the middle-aged cultivator saw that Xiaolingyu had successfully left, he laughed and flew towards Luhong City. When he reached the city gates, he shouted, "All city guards, quickly return to the city." Although Demon Monarch Tao was trembling with anger, there was nothing he could do. Although his Tao clan was considered one of the top aristocratic clans in the Luhong mainland, he did not dare to offend the Luhong City's city lord's estate. He himself did not dare to kill these city guards and could only watch as all the city guards and the middle-aged cultivator retreated back into the city. However, after the teleportation array plaza fell silent, Demon Monarch Tao suddenly revealed a cold smile. As he walked toward the teleportation array, he muttered, "You'd better not let me meet you on a continent. Otherwise, humph." As soon as he finished speaking, Demon Monarch Tao activated the teleportation array and teleported away. After the first teleportation, Xiaolingyu did not stop. Instead, he teleported a few more times. However, he did not leave the Blood Moon mainland. Not continuing to move, Xiaolingyu randomly found a quiet place on a continent and meditated in seclusion for a while. Only when he had recovered to his peak condition did he stop his seclusion and fly towards the teleportation array of this continent. Just as she entered the teleportation array, Xiaolingyu suddenly realized that there was a layer of black light shining on her body. No matter how he tried to suppress it, the black light could not be retracted, but it did not affect him in the slightest. Although she was surprised, Xiaolingyu still activated the teleportation portal. Just before the teleportation formation's white light flashed, Xiaolingyu saw Demon Lord Tao standing in the sea of people at the teleportation formation plaza. Why is he here? As soon as Xiaolingyu asked this question, the teleportation array was activated. After the teleportation, Xiaolingyu arrived at another Devil Realm continent, and the black light around her body disappeared. As soon as she walked out of the teleportation array, Xiaolingyu had already sensed that her target was on this continent. However, he was not in a hurry to act. Instead, he continued to wait at the teleportation plaza. As Xiaolingyu had expected, it didn't take long for Demon Monarch Tao to appear at the teleportation array plaza of this continent. Demon Lord Tao did not notice Xiaolingyu. After he walked out of the teleportation array, he immediately formed a hand seal and chanted an incantation. Black light immediately overflowed from Xiaolingyu's body. After Demon Lord Tao stopped his hand seals and incantations, he narrowed his eyes and carefully sensed for a while before looking in Xiaolingyu's direction. However, at this moment, Xiaolingyu was already in the teleportation array. Before Demon Lord Tao could make a move, the teleportation array flashed with white light, and Xiaolingyu's body suddenly disappeared. The black light that old man shot into my body is actually a tracking technique. After the teleportation ended, Xiaolingyu's expression was a little gloomy. He had spent 1,500 demonic crystals to escape the Luhong continent, but he still could not shake off Demon Lord Tao's pursuit. However, that old man's tracking technique seems to only be effective when we are on the same continent. If I keep teleporting and am not on the nearby continents, it will be very difficult for him to find me. After Xiaolingyu guessed this, he felt a little more relaxed. However, those with the Demon Sovereign's life imprint are mostly on the nearby continent. If I go too far away, I will lose many opportunities. Xiaolingyu hesitated again. Let's go. That Demon Lord Tao should be a mid-stage Demon Lord. Even if I use the formless gigantic demon art, I probably won't be able to defeat him. Moreover, if I keep wandering around here, it will be very dangerous if I am targeted by a Demon Lord expert with the Demon Sovereign's life imprint and is killed. After deciding on his plan, Xiaolingyu once again entered the teleportation array and began to head east of the demon world. Regarding the Demon Sovereign, it was all Ran Kai's words alone. Xiaolingyu might not believe it in his heart. After all, he had not yet felt that the life imprint in his body was harmful to him. Another point was that 1,000,000 years might not be a long time to others, but to Xiaolingyu 1,000,000 years was really too long. Even if what Ran Kai said was true, Xiaolingyu also felt that it was very likely that he would possess the strength of a demon sovereign within 1,000,000 years. When that time came, everything would be easily solved. Actually, Xiaolingyu's choice was very correct. Since Ran Kai could obtain the Demon Sovereign's life imprint, it proved that other demon lords could also obtain it. Moreover, they were on the same continent, and Xiaolingyu was unable to sense the existence of targets with a higher realm than him. It was very likely that he would become the target of a demon lord expert. Just because he did not encounter them before, it did not mean that he would not encounter them later. It was very likely that those demon lords had not figured out what was going on with the bloody light on their bodies. Once they figured it out, they would definitely be like Xiaolingyu and Ran Kai. Taking 10,000 steps back, Xiaolingyu could be very lucky and not encounter any targets stronger than him, but he would have to wait 1,000,000 years, or wait for the cultivator with the Demon Sovereign's soul consciousness to appear and not kill him. Firstly, he could not wait that long, and secondly, he could not kill the person with the Demon Sovereign's soul consciousness, so it was better for him to leave first. Xiaolingyu had previously instructed Zhu Jin, Xiaoliang, and the other higher-ups of the Heavenly Bandits to advance east of the demon world while doing business. The general route had also been agreed upon, so Xiaolingyu could easily find the Heavenly Bandit. After leaving the Blood Moon continent, Xiaolingyu was actually very safe, so every time he arrived at a continent in the demon world, he would send a message to Zhu Jin and the others. If there was no reply, he would continue to teleport. After continuously teleporting for 2 years, Xiao Lingyu finally arrived at the Heavenly Bandits from a continent in the demon world called the White Bone Continent. The White Bone Continent was not a prosperous continent, and the entire continent was crisscrossed with ravines. The power of the demon spirit was very violent, and there was a terrifying murderous aura wreaking havoc everywhere. Therefore, there were much fewer cultivators here than on other continents, but the cultivators here were obviously not ordinary. It was said that the White Bone Continent was a battlefield in ancient times. At that time, immortals, Buddhas, gods, and devils fought fiercely here, causing the continent to be riddled with holes. After those ancient experts died, their bodies turned into murderous aura, and their minds turned into evil spirits, wreaking havoc on this continent all year round, until now. Since it was a battlefield in ancient times, and since many ancient experts died here, there must be treasures left behind by the ancient experts. Many cultivators in the demon world thought so, so even if the environment here was bad, many cultivators in the demon world came here to search for treasures. However, countless years had passed, and there were very few cultivators who could obtain treasures here. On the other hand, the number of cultivators who died here kept increasing. Not to mention that piles of bones could be seen everywhere, but if one kept flying above the ground, they would definitely see some broken bones every once in a while. That was how the name of the White Bone Continent came about. On this demon world continent, there was no one to control the order at all. The weak could not survive here for a long time. Why did you stop on this continent? After finding the Heavenly Bandits in a rift valley, Xiao Lingyu frowned and asked Zhu Jin and the others. We came here half a year ago. We were going to leave as soon as we came, but it just so happened that a treasure appeared here at that time. You didn't stay here to snatch the treasure, did you? Xiao Lingyu interrupted before Zhu Jin could finish speaking. Although we wanted to snatch the treasure here, we gave up at that time considering our strength. However, other experts thought that there was a treasure here. In order to prevent other experts from coming from the outside to fight for it, they sealed the teleportation formation, so we couldn't leave. Zhu Jin shook his head and explained. The teleportation formation has been opened. Why haven't you left yet? Xiao Lingyu asked again. The teleportation formation was opened a month ago. The reason why we didn't leave is that we have a clue about the treasure, so we want to wait for the first master to come and take us to get the treasure. Xiao Yang continued. That treasure still has no owner? Xiao Lingyu asked in surprise. Indeed, it has no owner and it has hidden. Half a year ago, it broke out of the ground and caused a huge commotion. At that time, almost all the experts on the White Bone Continent rushed over to fight for it. They fought until the sky was dark and the earth was dark. There were countless casualties, but no one could control the treasure. In the end, the treasure flew away on its own and hid. Because of the fierce large-scale fighting, the cultivators here hated each other. Many cultivators with low cultivation or who were seriously injured and wanted to leave the White Bone Continent joined forces to attack the teleportation formation. That was why the teleportation formation was closed and opened to the public. After all, half a year has passed, and no one has found any trace of the treasure. There is no need to seal the teleportation formation. Zhu Jin nodded and explained. What do you mean by having a clue about the treasure? Since you have a clue, why don't you just go and get it? Why wait for me? Xiao Lingyu continued to ask. Chapter 3:15. Are you sure that you're the only ones who know about that clue? Xiao Lingyu asked cautiously. I'm not sure, but there definitely aren't many people who know about it. Zhu Jin paused for a moment before replying. There's no need for too many people to know about it. As long as they're all experts, they'll bring us great danger. Xiao Lingyu rubbed his nose and said, Boss, are you planning to give up on this opportunity? Xiao Yang seemed to have heard the hint in Xiao Lingyu's words and asked with a bit of disappointment. Not only Xiao Yang, but even the other mysterious demon stage cultivators' faces, which were originally filled with joy because of the arrival of the boss, had now disappeared. Robbery was a risk, so was seizing treasures. In any case, everyone was in a risky business. As long as there was profit, these robbers wouldn't easily give up. I'm not saying that I'm giving up. I'm just considering whether it's worth it for us to take this risk. Are you sure that the treasure will be useful to us? Can you be sure that there aren't a large number of mysterious demon stage or demon lord stage evil spirits at the location of the treasure? Xiaolingyu shook his head and replied, "That treasure will definitely be useful to us. Although we haven't seen that treasure before, according to the people who saw it at the time, it's definitely a demon treasure. It's just that we can't be sure if the location of the treasure is somewhere we can go." Su Zhen interrupted. "There are countless capable people on this white bone continent. If we have clues about the treasure, others might also have them. We seem to have a lot of people, but as long as we encounter a demon lord stage cultivator or evil spirit, I'm afraid that we'll suffer a great loss. There are some things that I think it's not too late to investigate before taking action. Even if we're robbers, we should plan before taking action." Xiaolingyu calmly said. "Boss, you mean we should investigate first?" Xiaoyang thought for a moment before asking. "That's right. We must investigate. Even if we can't investigate clearly, we must at least investigate roughly." Xiaolingyu nodded in response. "Okay, I'll send some people over," Zhu Jin said enthusiastically. "Find some smart brothers. If there's any danger, immediately retreat. It's best not to let other cultivators notice." Xiaolingyu instructed. "Understood." Zhu Jin replied and left after receiving the order. Next, Xiaolingyu and the Heavenly Bandits' upper echelons discussed the route forward and the strategy for future robberies. About half a month had passed. Although the brothers Zhu Jin had sent out had returned with a lot of useful information, they had also brought a guest to the heaven-smiting bandit group. Before we cooperate, I want to know, how did you find this place?" Xiaolingyu asked with a smile. "There are so many people outside. I can easily find this place by following one of them. With my cultivation, it's not difficult at all." Tuoba Honglai replied. "There's only one treasure. If we cooperate and successfully obtain the treasure, who will it belong to?" Xiaolingyu asked again. "Let's appraise the treasure first. If one of us obtains the treasure, we'll give half of the treasure's value to the other party. How about that?" Tuoba Honglai said in a seemingly fair manner. This suggestion sounds very fair, but if we want that treasure, we really can't take out that many magic stones. When the time comes, it's inevitable that there will be a dispute." Xiaolingyu shook his head and smiled. Xiaolingyu knew that the person who came must have a lot of magic stones. He also expected that the Heavenly Bandits didn't have many magic stones. The other party said that he was here to cooperate, but in reality, he was here to hire the Heavenly Bandits to be his hired thugs. "Then, Great Master, do you have any good suggestions?" Tuoba Honglai asked. "Actually, according to the information that our brothers have gathered, our bandit group doesn't have enough strength to get our hands on the treasure. We're already preparing to leave the White Bone continent." Xiaolingyu said calmly. "You're leaving?" Tuoba Honglai frowned slightly. "The treasure's hiding place is very dangerous. Not only will the dense evil qi corrode the cultivators' bodies, but the evil spirits inside are also very powerful. Our bandit group doesn't even have a demon lord expert. If we go in rashly, I'm afraid that we'll be wiped out before we even see the shadow of the treasure. It's better to leave now so that the treasure won't suddenly fly out and cause a large-scale battle and affect us," Xiaolingyu explained in a low voice. "Great Master is very open-minded. With such a precious treasure in front of you, you're still not tempted. I'm impressed." Tuoba Honglai waved his fist and praised. "It's not that I'm not tempted. It's just that I'm not strong enough and don't want to die." Xiaolingyu shook his head. "To tell you the truth, I'm determined to get the treasure, but the strength of one person is still a little shallow, so I want to ask for some help. Tuoba Honglai seemed to be honest. That's why you came to us, Xiao Lingyu added. He could understand why Tuoba Honglai came to the Heavenly Bandit. First, the Heavenly Bandits had many people and their strength was not weak. Second, there was no demon lord in the Heavenly Bandits. If they really got the treasure, Tuoba Honglai would not have to worry about it being snatched away by his own helpers. Great Master, if you have any conditions, just say it. As long as I can meet them, I won't refuse. Tuoba Honglai said generously. We'll be taking a big risk this time. Xiao Lingyu seemed to be in a difficult position. You're only going to help this time. We're not asking you to take risks or fight to the death. I'll be in front of you. If even I can't handle it and you feel that it's too dangerous, you can retreat at any time. Tuoba Honglai smiled sincerely. If that's the case, as long as the reward is high enough, we can accompany you. Xiao Lingyu said with satisfaction. How much do you want? Let's hear it first. Tuoba Honglai followed. It doesn't need too much. Just 100,000 demonic crystals will do. Xiao Lingyu thought for a while and gave a price that he thought was very high. In fact, under normal circumstances, it was very difficult for an early-stage demon lord cultivator to take out 100,000 demonic crystals. Okay, we'll do as Great Master says. To Xiao Lingyu's surprise, Tuoba Honglai agreed without hesitation. He then placed a storage pouch on the table and said, There are 30,000 demonic crystals here. Take it as a deposit. If we successfully complete the mission, I'll hand over the remaining 70,000 demonic crystals with both hands. Xiao Lingyu first checked the amount of demonic crystals in the storage pouch. After confirming that there were no mistakes, he put it away and added, If we feel that it's too dangerous, or if you decide to withdraw, we won't refund the deposit. Tuoba Honglai hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, No problem. From Tuoba Honglai's attitude, Xiao Lingyu could guess that the treasure was absolutely extraordinary. It was at least a top-grade demon artifact. It might even be a divine artifact. Otherwise, Tuoba Honglai wouldn't be so generous and straightforward. Then, when will fellow Taoists take action? Xiao Lingyu asked. Of course, the sooner the better. I'm afraid that something unexpected will happen if we delay. Since there aren't many experts who know the treasure's location, our chances of successfully obtaining the treasure are very high, Tuoba Honglai said without hesitation. Then let's set off now. Xiao Lingyu stood up and smiled. Naturally, Xiao Lingyu couldn't bring all the cultivators of the Heavenly Bandits with him. Only experts above the early-stage spirit demon realm would be enough. Those with lower cultivation wouldn't be of much use. They would only increase the number of casualties. Even so, the team of more than 100 people was too eye-catching. Xiao Lingyu and Tuoba Honglai discussed for a moment and let everyone hurry on their way. They formed groups of 3 to 5 and didn't cause any trouble along the way. They just kept their heads down and hurried on. It only took them 3 days to reach a barren mountain. This barren mountain range was vast, and there were countless bare mountain peaks. The peaks were neither tall nor big and had different shapes. From afar, they looked like fossils of ferocious beasts. In other places, the evil spirit could only be seen occasionally. However, in these barren mountains, the evil spirit was like a cloud. As long as the wind blew, the evil spirit would roll wantonly. Even though they were standing outside of the barren mountain, they could clearly hear the roars of the evil spirits and demonic creatures coming from within, causing them to shudder. Looking at the countless bones buried by the wind in the barren mountains, everyone's hearts were filled with fear. Anyone could see that this was definitely a dangerous place. Let's go. The treasure is in the depths of the barren mountains. We'll go there slowly. Try not to get entangled with those evil spirits. If we encounter one and can't kill it quickly, we'll move forward quickly and try to get rid of it. To deal with those evil spirits, it's best not to use physical attack. It's most effective to use soul attacks, sound waves, deterrence, and other invisible attacks. After Tuoba Honglai gave his instructions, he took the lead and walked into the depths of the barren mountains. He was immediately surrounded by the evil spirit. When the evil spirit surged, Tuoba Honglai only needed to release his aura to disperse the evil spirit. The evil spirit in the periphery of the barren mountains was not much of a threat to cultivators at the early stage spirit demon realm and above. Therefore, Xiaolingyu didn't need to protect the others. Everyone calmly followed behind Tuoba Honglai and moved forward slowly. If all goes well with our current speed, we should be able to reach the treasure's location in 10 days. Everyone, don't be too anxious. Tuoba Honglai continued to instruct as he led the way. Xiaolingyu and the others followed in silence. They were quite calm. Occasionally, the evil spirits would pounce on them, or the evil spirit that was too dense would be cleared away by Tuoba Honglai. They didn't have to worry about anything and could maintain their peak condition. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.